that's kind of the whole loophole right now that's going on with this message board, is that there is no one person that's saying, hey, you guys, go and invest right now. There's no insider trading. Everybody's doing it, and you're not gonna arrest, or you're not gonna tax, thousands or maybe millions, probably thousands and tens of thousands of people who are investing in the stock at the same time, because there's no jurisdiction for that. So that's what's going on right now. So if they can't find a way to stop this, essentially, and they don't change any of the rules, I'd say go for it.
And you thought Bitcoin was a big thing. See that?
Right.
How about that? All of a sudden, it's real stuff, according to most people. Are still trying to figure out what Bitcoin is on some levels. But anyway, there's your little stock tip.
Yeah.
We will have Mike Lester from Talon Wealth Management coming up in our Money Minute later on in the program. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane. We've got Baseball Hall of Fame. I want to get your thoughts on that. It's a similar thought for me. It doesn't have to be a long discussion. Pro Football Hall of Fame, really weird right now, right? Leroy Butler from Jackson, from Lee High School, Green Bay Packer, Limbo Leap, didn't get in the Hall of Fame. Apparently, he tweeted that out. But this is like no rhyme or reason at all for how they're doing this. All of a sudden, learned like 12 hours before the vote was taking place. That wasn't public. And then we still have no idea when Tony Baselli and others are going to find out. Well, it sounds like some people have found out. Not sure if everybody found out. And on top of that, Austin, what I think is kind of interesting is usually leagues are somewhat respectful of other big things going on. Well, the Baseball Hall of Fame always announces around this time. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, try to trump them in the sense of a day later we're hearing stories of like Leroy Butler who might not have gotten in the Hall of Fame. So there's nothing official out there. But it's going to be interesting to see who can keep things a secret, what things leak out, and when we actually know. I haven't seen anything about when we actually will find out. I just kind of assumed and had heard that it might be the day before the Super Bowl, like it usually is.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the leak stuff's concerned, like I'm not sure like who is supposedly not in and not out. Like, have they mentioned Tony Baselli yet? They haven't?
No, we haven't seen that. And that
okay.
That doesn't – they might just ask folks to stay quiet, and some will and some won't,
Yeah.
But Leroy Butler obviously didn't get the message because he put out on Twitter today that he didn't get in.
Oh, I got you. Okay, cool. I mean, not cool for him, obviously. I would want to see him get in. I mean, he's the author of the Lambeau Leap. Come on, man. I mean, that alone right there should get you in the Hall of Fame. You should have your own wing where you're jumping in the stands. I think
someday.
Hopefully someday. With the Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, more specifically here, I was never a fan of how they went about doing this whole thing. Like, I understand that you vote a certain amount of guys in. I'm not opposed to that. I wish that you would have kind of like a council a little bit, though, of like former players that also kind of have a say, because I feel like it's all media members, and sometimes, especially like with Tony Baselli, where you don't have necessarily the stats, because let's be honest, you played offensive line, so you can't point to a stat and say, this is how you did. You go by word of mouth, and you go up by what your peers say, and sometimes that can get lost in translation a little bit. So I wish there was more of a player input. But more importantly, I just wish that like there wasn't this waiting period of, okay, there's the finalists now. It's almost like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, where it's like you're waiting in a room and, oh, is he going to pick me or is he not? Like, I think there's an easier way. There's a more systematic way that you can go about doing this, as opposed to playing off the suspense. Because in my opinion, at least, nobody appreciates the suspense of waiting for the NFL Hall of Fame vote. Like, it's not like we have a clock right now. We're counting down the days until they announce it. So like I wish they would stop trying to build it up. Like, I mean, it's a huge deal. Don't get me wrong. But you don't have to go out of your way to build the suspense and kind of fabricate suspense. It should do that already by itself.
Yeah, and so it's going to be interesting. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with the early vote, trying to keep it secret, lock away the votes, but now some people know. Like, again, it just feels kind of disjointed, and to me that's a little bit interesting. But we'll see what happens. I don't even know why they had to vote so soon. I don't know why they couldn't have just voted next week virtually and then do what they always do and announce it on Saturday. And that's when you find out. I mean, they usually vote on Saturday, do presentations in the morning, vote, and then they go knock on the door or give the phone call. And so there's no hang time at all. This time around, they created this, like you said, this suspense and unknown that I don't even think Tony Baselli initially knew like when he was going to find out. Maybe he wasn't sharing, but there's just a lot of unknowns with it. We'll see what happens. By the way, our schedule could take us to the Pro Football Hall of Fame on this trip in the next few days. So right now we are at Cartersville High School, home of Trevor Lawrence, Cartersville, Georgia, of course. They are the Purple Canes. You know, a lot of purple around here. He switched over to Clemson. They got a little purple, right, along with the orange, and so didn't have to change his colors so much.
The Purple Canes?
Yeah, Purple Canes.
Like hurricanes, right?
Yep.
Okay.
In fact, in the end zone, they have the hurricane warning sign. You know, we're familiar with that.
I like that. Yeah.
So they got that. They got
That's
like the
cool.
flags out, like that you'd have them at the beach. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's pretty good.
I'm not mad at that, man.
And so I'm going to set the scene here with the Cartersville High School, and we're like vagabonds, man. We're just like driving, and all of a sudden, be like, "Where are we going to do the show today?" Well, we talked to Coach. He's been on the coaching staff. He wasn't the head coach when Trevor was here. Now he's the head coach. And, after we talked to him, we said, what do you think if we just do it right here, right outside the building and in the facility? And here we are. We may have to go inside his office because the rains could be coming. In fact, it's drizzling a little bit here in Cartersville. But right inside is this brand-new facility. And these high school facilities in Georgia, holy cats, man. I mean, this is I guarantee you this. This is better than Murray State had when you were there. I mean, like guaranteed. Well, and I don't know if that's saying it's better than the way we had at Ashland. And it's better than a lot of colleges. So this isn't a knock on our alma maters. Yeah. I mean, it is that good. And it's just a couple years old, their weight room facility.
Well, listen, I mean, yeah, you're not saying much being better than Murray State because we were the last school in the country that played on AstroTurf for my first 2 years. So, I mean, I see real grass behind you, and it looks like, I mean, obviously it is the winter time, so, you know, the grass could be a little greener, but that's Mother Nature, man. That's just the way that works. I'm not gonna fault the grounds crew for that or anything, but it looks like you got some pretty lush, thick, nice cut grass behind you there. And yeah, I played on AstroTurf. So I'm sure that their weight room and their facilities absolutely trump Murray State's.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So this is where he played football. And the story here is, with Trevor Lawrence, he comes in his freshman year. He's much talked about, all right? So although the legend of Trevor Lawrence begins in 9th grade, his freshman year here, when he took over the job a couple games into the season for an injured quarterback, it actually started back in 7th and 8th grade, and people were like, wait until you see this kid. It was one of those things. But how many, even Coach said today, we were talking about, it's like, well, how many people say that, especially nowadays? Like, wait till you see this kid, right? And, well, then this guy comes out for a spring practice, and they're like, whoa, okay. I think he said they saw him in the spring, maybe it was. And now he comes in and plays a couple games in and takes over for injured 3-star quarterback Miller. What's his name at Alabama? Forrestall. Miller Forrestall is the quarterback. He's of this Cartersville high school team. And he's a couple years older than Trevor. He's apparently a 3-star guy. And he gets injured. And so a couple years in, Trevor Lawrence takes over, a couple games in. And, well, Miller Forrestall is now a national championship tight end at Alabama.
Wow.
And also will likely be an NFL player. So coming out of Cartersville High School, former 3-star quarterback who had to move to tight end essentially because of the greatness of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Does that put it in perspective or what?
I mean, that's the power of Trevor Lawrence, man. If you buy him, he's going to make you change positions. Like, best advice I can give you. If you're a quarterback, get out of his way. You better transfer or else you're playing tight end.
So anyway, that's kind of a little bit of the backstory of how it started. He goes on to lose 4 games in high school, although some people say he didn't even really lose. The couple of them he didn't start. So they go on his record as 4 losses. But we just talked to a guy at Scott's Barbecue across the street, and he was telling us, he's like, I think he really only lost 2 games that he started. And one of the games that he lost was his senior year in the playoffs on a last-second touchdown when the clock struck 0. So that's one of the losses. The other loss comes his freshman year in the state semifinals. They go undefeated sophomore year, junior year. And then you know what he did at Clemson, 34-2, national championship. So his only losses in his career, Austin, have come in semifinal games and championship games. That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's really unbelievable when you look at what he's accomplished. And I know we keep saying it, but now that we're here and we're listening to people talk about him and rave about him and all these nice things, and everybody to to a man, says this kid's an unbelievable football player. You know he's going to be great, and he has been great, but he's a better guy. Like everybody in this town, like they have to say that. They throw that in, but it's not just a throw-in. It's a genuine comment from them, just how good of a guy this Trevor Lawrence is. So,
Well,
and we haven't even met him, right? I
yeah,
mean, we don't
for
even
sure.
know him.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like I know him already now after a couple of days here in Cartersville, Georgia.
Well, yeah, it's called stalking. Listen, I think that in terms of Shad Khan, he needs to go ahead and get some kind of emotional support group kind of thing going on because, listen, you have Urban Meyer who hasn't lost that much, right? And now you have Trevor Lawrence who hasn't lost that much. You have the captain of the team, if you will, and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he has to earn that. I get that, but let's be honest. He's going to be the captain of the team. And then you have Urban Meyer, who's the culture builder. They haven't lost. Like, they don't know really how to lose. I wonder, and once again, who knows what's going to happen the first year in Jacksonville here. They could be in contention for a division, depending on, how messed up this division is right now with Houston and Indianapolis needs a quarterback and all this stuff. But it begs the question, like, how is the response going to be if you lose 3 or 4 games in a row? Because they're not accustomed to it.
Yeah, and that's what I've asked people. I did ask Coach today that, and I asked some other folks that we were talking to, even off camera. It's like, how is he going? That's one of my big questions about him, is how will he deal with that sense of adversity? And, he hates losing. It's hard to be great without hating losing. And we know Urban Meyer can't stand losing to the point, where it drives him, batty. And so I think you do have that. I don't think you can sleep on that component. You have 2 big-time winners at the college level and really in their life as they've competed, and they are bringing that mentality to Jacksonville. And while I don't get too wrapped up in saying, hey, there's a loser mentality in Jacksonville, it's just that underneath everything is the constants of loss after loss after loss on the football field. And you can't hide from that. That's the way it is. So I think just the nature of how much these guys have won. And, we've talked about it in the past. When you go get a Malik Jackson who's won a Super Bowl, and when you get some of these guys that have won and you bring them into your locker room, it does make a difference. And so I really do wonder how much Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence, their winning ways, the amount of success they've experienced, that just losing just won't happen for them, will kind of be contagious at Jags headquarters. And I think it sounds a little bit fictitious to kind of say that, but I do think it could be real and something that this organization needs.
Yeah, without a doubt, and like, it's very peculiar because, and I can't remember what Urban Meyer's record was at Utah, but I assume, he won a lot more than he lost, obviously. Like when you talk about Malik Jackson, Malik Jackson is a great example because he came from the culture of they went to the Super Bowl. Did he win one or did he go to one?
No, he won. He was
won
the winning that Denver went and they won and lost.
Yeah,
but he was on the winning one. Remember he scored a touchdown, picked up the fumble, and landed in the end zone on the touchdown. That was against Carolina.
Gotcha. So obviously he's won a Super Bowl, so he knows what that's about. But I'm sure like Malik Jackson probably didn't come from every single season where he was winning all the time. Like I'm sure he's come from at least one losing season, and sometimes it's the losses that mean the most because that's where you do you learn the most. You do the most growth here. Not to say that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have growth because listen, this guy has been A1 since day one. It seems like, and Urban Meyer obviously has a resume that speaks for itself. You have to know how to lose in this league. Maybe more than even have to know how to win. Like yes, losing is going to happen. But how do you respond to that? Like, that's what makes a great team a great team. That's what makes the Kansas City Chiefs the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They play Las Vegas early on in the season. Las Vegas had no business being the Kansas City Chiefs, but they did. But then what happened after that? Well, then you kind of had a sense of motivation if you're KC. You kind of have a sense of, all right, we're not going to lose too many more games. Now, they lost, I think, a couple more after that. But my point is, what did you learn from it? We've seen here in Jacksonville, when you go on these losing streaks, there's no lessons learned per se. It's just more losing and losing. So I guess the biggest question going forward now with Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer is, what type of losers are they? And once again, you got to be careful how I paraphrase that. But what type of losers are they, and what do they learn from it, and can they improve on it not only from themselves, but also obviously get everybody around them rallied as well?
Yeah, it becomes cliche sometimes in sports. When you do lose, that eats at people more, right? People will talk about the 2 losses to the Giants for Tom Brady and the Patriots and Bill Belichick. Nick Saban just said it recently, right? The 2 losses in national title games that he's had. Those things eat at him more than anything else. So I think that there's something that's kind of a common denominator with the big-time winners is just how much the losing is. And there's that old cliche of I hate losing more than I like winning, you know. Yeah. And I get it. I think that's part of it. The problem is, or not the problem, but Trevor Lawrence hasn't even had to taste hating losing.
Yeah.
You know? But, I mean, listen, it actually, in hindsight, he's lost maybe 4 or 6 times, whatever it is in his career, but they've been stinging losses because, you know, it's much easier to take a loss in week 3 than it is to lose in a state semifinal game or a college football playoff semifinal. Those really sting,
Absolutely.
you know, because you're so close to the promised land. We'll continue to talk about Trevor Lawrence. One of the topics today is he's been great here in Cartersville High School. He was great at Clemson. Just how good will he be, and especially initially in the NFL? What do we think? Is it Joe Burrow? Is it Patrick Mahomes? How soon before we talk about Trevor Lawrence as one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL, or are we just going to say, well, he's better than what Jacksonville has had? We'll talk about that and so much more coming up live from Cartersville, Georgia, Trevor Lawrence's hometown on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Sun and warm temperatures will give way to showers and a few heavy thunderstorms this afternoon as temperatures reach the 70s before the rain moves in, clearing and turning colder overnight tonight into the 40s by morning. And Thursday will be mostly sunny but breezy and chilly with highs only in the upper 50s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30 Action News Jacksonville, the First Alert Weather Center. I'm TV meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where you get the lowest diamond price guaranteed or your money back.
By now, you already know the sound of my voice and how much I call out shoddy AC work. So if you're in the business, you're either angry about it or you'd secretly love to come work for me. Well, I'm looking to hire some world-class AC installation techs because Griffin Service only hires the best. And just so we're clear, if you wouldn't rather starve than do turd bucket work, don't call. If you're great with the equipment, but only so-so with customers, you ain't our Huckleberry either. See, you and I both know how an AC is installed is even more important than what's installed. And companies that rush their installers end up cheating their customers out of the performance they're paying for. So if you're tired of doing rip and replace installs that shortchange the customer, or of being an A player surrounded by shortcut taking schmucks, and you want to be paid top dollar plus bonuses, all while working for a family first company, email Tom at griffinservice.com.
License number 1250697.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Hello, you have reached the Crooks or Us training helpline. Today, we're explaining the term verified alarm to all you newbies out there.
Oh, boss, I can explain that. A verified alarm just means that whatever caused the security system alarm to go off has been verified.
Correct. And what alarm company is known for providing the fastest verified alarms?
Safe Touch Security.
Exactly, because Safe Touch has the two-way communicator, which leads to alarm verification within seconds.
And alarm verification is very bad for us crooks.
Yeah, unlike a non-verified alarm that police label a low priority.
Like right below getting Grandma's cat out of a tree low.
So, to sum up, verified alarms. Just one more reason we crooks have the golden rule: stay away from Safe Touch houses. Remember that, and you'll be fine.
Here, kitty, kitty.
Only one security system is truly the best. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Support local businesses, get discounted golf, and how about some free stuff? It's the Dream 18 card on ESPN690.com. Discounted golf at Southampton, Osprey Cove, Eagle Landing, Queens Harbor, Amelia River, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, and Fleming Island Golf Club. And you heard the word free. How about a free smoothie from Smoothie King, free shirt from Baker Sports, and a free hat from Dome Hats, plus other local business discounts. Save hundreds of dollars, all for $95. It's the Dream 18 card on ESPN690.com.
Nurses take extraordinary care of us during what is often the most difficult and trying times in one's life. We often take for granted the service and sacrifice of these first responders. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. If you are a nurse and currently face investigation or complaint under the Florida Nurse Practice Act, you are not alone. Call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Reggae legends, the Wailers, with Grammy-nominated singer Julian Marley, perform at the Florida Theater Saturday, February 20th. Tickets are on sale now. Don't miss the Wailers, with Grammy-nominated Julian Marley performing all the great Bob Marley hits at the Florida Theater Saturday, February 20th. Get tickets by calling 904-355-ARTS or visit floridatheater.com.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Brent Martineau.
There's 3 islands, and it can be very nice and lucrative, by the way. You could be a huge winner, but you could be a huge loser, too. You might not have a boat to get home.
Austin Lane.
Well, I like that, man. I love that analogy.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
It's another testament to the kind of person he is, where you have a lot of, high school athletes that'll want to sit in front of a gym and to pick a hat and have all this attention on their decision. I remember when he made his decision, it was simply through Twitter with a picture of his family with Dabo Sweeney and said, please respect my decision and please understand no interviews. It was something to that effect. Again, with people online, there were a lot of people that were big Trevor fans that were angry that he wasn't going to Georgia. How could you leave the state of Georgia? My tact was always, as it is for any high school student, I don't care if you're going to Clemson or if you're going to North Dakota Tech. If somebody wants to give you the opportunity to play football and advance your education, I want you to go somewhere where you're going to be happy, where you're going to be successful, and where you're going to be, have a great college experience. And I think he picked a place that was absolutely perfect for him.
Well, he got to pick that place, and that place was Clemson, South Carolina. That was the mayor when we were caught up with the mayor of Cartersville yesterday, Matt Santini, who also calls the Cartersville Purple Canes games on Friday nights. And he doesn't get to pick this next stop. But I will say this. Talking to more folks around here in Cartersville, they feel a little bit the way we do, too. And I don't think anybody's going to say, man, I'm so glad he didn't go to New York or is not going to go to New York. It's not that. It's not as hastily said as the New York folks did about, I can't believe he's going to end up in Jacksonville. He's never going to make any money up there.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of tone, okay? So I want to make sure I represent this in the right way. But there is this sense of who he is and how he would fit in New York versus how he would fit in a place like Jacksonville, just given the smaller market, staying in the Southeast, those things. There is this consensus feel that this is going to be a good stop for him, a good place for him. Mm-hmm. And there's also this feel, Austin, that he's got some things around him, and I do think that's the underspoken part of this. And I'm telling some folks up here in our discussions that, you come into this situation sometimes the number 1 draft pick. I mean, think about what Peyton Manning walked into. I don't think it was a very good team. Andrew Luck, different story. He had a pretty decent football team around him, and he obviously propelled them. And I don't know if it's either or in Jacksonville. It's probably somewhat in between, if that makes sense. But the Jags offense is not bad. They have some good pieces, and they could use a quarterback that could make some of those pieces better. And so I think there's a chance for some success in Jacksonville, and I think a lot of folks around here do too, believe that, more so than even New York, who appears from the outside to have a little bit more of I would say, a weaker roster, but also just the issues seem maybe a little bit more pronounced at times, and we'll see if Robert Saleh can go in and fix them. And again, I think we have to be fair. It's not to say the Jags have been void of issues, but maybe a cleaner slate of sorts. So that's kind of the feel up here that Jacksonville is a good place for Trevor Lawrence to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you make the argument that Trevor Lawrence was surrounded by great talent, possibly in high school, but definitely at Clemson, and no one's going to debate that. I mean, Clemson's going to have a few guys get drafted this year from that offense, and the offenses in the past that Trevor Lawrence played on. So there's no doubt about that. But at the same time, when you talk about Trevor Lawrence, you talk about a guy who can elevate the play around him. Like, that's what you want out of any quarterback. We talk about that with Tom Brady. We talk about that with Patrick Mahomes a little bit. And now, yeah, Patrick Mahomes came into a great situation because he had Travis Kelce and he had Tyreek Hill. But the skill set still speaks for itself. Right, because you truly believe that you put Patrick Mahomes on any team and immediately they get elevated to another caliber of offense. And you look at Patrick Mahomes in college, like, he didn't have the big names, right? Nobody's really talking about Patrick Mahomes in college. And maybe we didn't see it, but the skill set was there. There's a reason why he got drafted in the first round. There's a reason why Andy Reid and some other coaches fell in love with Patrick Mahomes, because of what he showed on film, because of what his teammates and his coaches said about him. So when you have Trevor Lawrence, yes, he's been the front runner. Yes, he's played with a lot of great talent, but that doesn't, to me, like, that doesn't sell it. It's the fact that talent was, in my opinion, elevated at Clemson. They won a national championship. They went to the college football playoff. And I think Trevor Lawrence can do the exact same thing here in Jacksonville. Now, he plays on the offensive side of the ball where, let's be honest, in terms of wide receivers, I've seen a worse group of wide receivers right now than this Jacksonville squad, all right? I've seen worse guys, obviously, than DJ Chark, than Keelan Cole, deciding what happens with him, then Laviska Shenault and Colin Johnson looks promising at all as well. So with that being said, I mean, you like what you got for weapons. You got a running game. And now you want to see it be elevated. And I think Trevor Lawrence has the tools to do that.
Hey, Justin Herbert's going to be Rookie of the Year, right? I don't think they've announced that yet. That'll be on NFL Honors. But he's like the hands-down Rookie of the Year in the NFL. And much like Aaron Rodgers, probably the hands-down MVP. But let's talk about the young guys and the young quarterbacks. People were impressed with Joe Burrow and what he was doing before he got hurt. And they kind of saw, okay, this kid's playing pretty good, but they've got some holes. They need some help on the offensive line. And, well, then what happened? He suffers a big injury, knee injury. And, keep in mind, Trevor Lawrence has been pretty healthy overall through his career. Jags, I think, are in a better shape on their offensive line than Cincinnati is. But it's important to protect your franchise on every level, but especially a young guy who's going to take some licks and going to learn a little bit. But as you look at those two players specifically, number 1 overall pick and then obviously top 10 for Herbert, I'm going to leave Tua out of this, although you can bring him into it if you want. The Tua transition seems like it was planned to be a longer one. Keep in mind, the Herbert transition wasn't even planned necessarily. He just jumped in there and bam. I think he surprised even Anthony Lynn and the Chargers. Now, the Burrow comparison is the best one because he was going to start from day one. So if you take those 3 guys in the top 10, what kind of season is Trevor Lawrence going to have? Like, what are the expectations for him in his rookie year? I'll do this, Austin, and I'll just couch it with for whoever team he plays for.
For sure.
But for Jacksonville is why we're talking about it. It's why we're sitting here at Cartersville High School where Trevor Lawrence played. I mean, what's the feel for that? What's success? We'll talk wins, right? +5 wins, +6 wins. Can they get to 7 or 8 wins? Who knows? But what does it feel like for Trevor Lawrence in his rookie season in the NFL to say, all right, man, now this guy's got something. We can ride with it.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and start with Joe Burrow then, right? Joe Burrow started 10 games, played in 10 games, and obviously he had that catastrophic knee injury. In those 10 games, he threw for 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and averaged 268 yards per game. The thing about Joe Burrow, and keep in mind, this is the bona fide number 1 pick of that draft. Right now, so there's some people that maybe were questioning it, but come on, man. I mean, Joe Burrow, you knew he was going number 1. And when you have the receivers like they did, and they had A.J. Green, but he's in the back 9 of his career, but you had T. Higgins come on, you had Tyler Boyd, you had an okay running game that didn't really pick up a lot with Mixon, and then you had Giovanni Bernard. Like, you had a lot of offensive weapons. It kind of reminds you a little bit of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the difference between the Jaguars and the Bengals is the fact that the offensive line there in Cincinnati was just it was lacking, to say the least. Joe Burrow in those 10 games was sacked 32 times. So as far as expectations, because keep in mind, people were talking up Joe Burrow like he was going to be Rookie of the Year, and he very well might have been if he could stay healthy for 16 games. But keep in mind, he only won 2 games out of that run right there. He went 2-7-1. So with that being said, I think expectations should be a lot higher, actually, than Joe Burrow did his rookie year. I think in terms of touchdowns, obviously it's going to be more. I think in terms of yards per game, it might be around the 268 range, because you still have a solid running game with James Robinson, one would assume. I think the offensive line takes care of him a little better. So I expect to have better numbers than Joe Burrow this year. Once again, if Trevor Lawrence does come to Jacksonville.
Good couch.
Yeah.
Couch that.
Yeah.
That's a big if. Maybe not so much of a big if. Why do you think Herbert, do you think Herbert's success, or at least the people talking about Herbert, had as much to do with his play on the field, or it did with the surprise that it came with? There was unexpected. They were playing Tyrod Taylor. All of a sudden, the guy gets a bad shot, an injection, and Herbert's in the game, and they don't even have time to prep the guy. I mean, it's like hours before. So, and then he just took off. And, he had a stretch in the season where it didn't look as good, Yeah. But they put a lot on his plate right away. They didn't baby him. They didn't bring him along. They just said, hey, go play, man. And you took your lumps. But I feel like a little bit of the Herbert craze might be less about, okay, let's dissect everything he did on the field, how good he was, versus, wow, this guy really surprised us. We didn't expect this. Some wondered if he even should be like the top 10 pick. And all the talk last year about him going back to school. And then he comes in and no prep time. And they weren't even going to play him or start him, which, by the way, I advocated to because I'm not a huge Tyrod Taylor guy. And then on top of that, I think it was a New Orleans Saints game in prime time where it went toe-to-toe with the Saints and Breeze.
Yeah.
And so you add those little elements in. It's like, okay, was Herbert as good as he's going to be presented, or did it feel better than he was?
Yeah, it's a good call, and I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it's the circumstances of the situation that he found himself in. When Herbert came in, and keep in mind, this guy played in 15 games, so essentially after week 1, he was the guy. He goes 6-9, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and averaged around 289 yards per game. Now, that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
With that being said, though, you see the situation that Justin Herbert was in, where their defense had a lot of injuries, and their defense was surrendering a lot of points. And when you surrender a lot of points, the offense has to keep up a little bit. So I think that you had a run and gun type of offense, especially when Austin Eckler, who was supposed to be their prized, workhorse, if you will, after they let go of Melvin Gordon. After Austin Eckler got hurt, well, now you got Kalen Ballage, you got Justin Jackson going in, and it's not necessarily the same look as if Eckler was in there. So you had to rely more on the passing game now. And let's be honest, I mean, in terms of pass-catching backs, with all due respect to Ballage and Jackson, they're not quite to Austin Eckler's level. So now you had to rely more on the deep passes. The thing that sets out Justin Herbert, though, and let's be honest, he's winning Rookie of the Year. Props to him, and obviously Chargers fans, they like what they see from him going forward, and there's a lot of optimism right now with this Chargers team. But to me, what made it like everything click is the fact that you got a guy in Keenan Allen who's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the entire NFL. And you have a guy in Hunter Henry who might be one of the most underrated tight ends in all of the NFL. When you have a receiver that's a go-to guy, and you have a tight end who you can throw to the middle of the field, kind of like that fail-safe a little bit, and Justin Jackson had some receptions, I think, as well, and Ballage did all right as well. But if you have a running back as well who you can kind of throw the ball to on those screens and those short checkdowns, well, you got something special. And that, to me, was, once again, he's still throwing the ball to him, and it's admirable and it's impressive. But he was in a fantastic situation there in L.A.
Yeah, no doubt. Here's how good. So the conversation is, how good will he be, right? How good is he going to be initially? We'll see he's been so good everywhere, folks. I mean, it's not hyperbole. And I'm not sure this is hyperbole. But I'm going to give you the quote from the local just about an hour ago. If he stays healthy, meaning barring injury, he's a no-doubt Hall of Famer in the NFL. That's how big or good they think Trevor Lawrence is around here. Mm-hmm. And now he's a hometown guy, so it comes with a sense of bias, of course. But I've talked to a lot of folks in the last couple of days. Nobody said that, and that's just how he jumps off the field at you, jumps off the page at you, and it's a proven commodity in the sense of how much he's impressed the locals around here and the people that have watched him play for years and years, the things that he does on the football field. So, That's heady stuff right there, man. Sign me up.
No, I think anybody would take that. And let's be honest. I mean, I understand the Jaguars, they have maybe a pretty solid running game going forward with James Robinson, but the NFL shows us one thing, Brent. And if you want to make some noise in the playoffs, if you want to go to the Super Bowl, unless you got a guy by the name of Derrick Henry, you have to be able to pass the ball, and you got to put up points. So to go along with, the prediction, if you will, or the theory that Trevor Lawrence can make it to the Hall of Fame, like, listen, let's see what this guy looks like in black and teal first, not black and aqua, Mayor. But if we're being honest here, I mean, the way today's NFL game is shaped, it is set up for the quarterback to succeed and put up big-time numbers. And what the Jaguars have right now on the wide receiver position, they kind of need a tight end still. We'll see with that. But Trevor Lawrence can definitely put up big-time numbers.
Now, just so you know, they've had a quarterback run here at Cartersville High School. There's Trevor Lawrence, who is the best of them all. The young man went to Louisville, and I think he's since transferred after Lawrence. And Carlos Del Rio Wilson is a Gator. He's on the campus of the University of Florida in Gainesville, early enrollee. And he played for these guys in the fall and helped them to the state championship as a runner-up. Now, he wasn't homegrown. He kind of moved in and transferred in, and so he didn't even start the year as their quarterback. But they had a nice little run at quarterbacks. They know what quarterbacking looks like here at Cartersville High School in Cartersville, Georgia. So that's where we are. We continue our coverage on the road, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. When we come back, I want to get your thoughts on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Nobody going in. Is it right? Is it wrong? Where do you fall on this, Austin Lane? And it's kind of odd. Nobody going to Cooperstown in 2021. We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Wednesday. I'm Jake Mitchell. For the first time since 1960, no one will be enshrined in Cooperstown at the National Baseball Hall of Fame. None of the players, including Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, or leading vote getter Curt Schilling, got the minimum 75% votes needed to get in. All three stars will be on their last year of writers' eligibility next year. After the 10th year, there's a Veterans Committee that makes the decision. And Schilling wants to be left off the writers' ballot next year so that he can, quote, defer to the Veterans Committee and men whose opinions actually matter and who are in position to actually judge a player. Here's ESPN baseball analyst Tim Kirkesian on the situation.
I'm not surprised at all by the results. That's just the feel I had for this. What I was surprised by is that Bonds, Clemens, and Schilling made very little progress upward here.
The Sports Center Update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Hey, boss, how's it going?
How's it going? Oh, let me tell you how it's going. So far this year, I've broken my pinky toe, had a flat tire, and currently I'm trying to pass a kidney stone the size of Rhode Island.
Well, karma strikes again.
What?
Nothing. Oh, look, it's the first Crooks R Us survey of 2021. They're asking crooks like us to list the top reasons we avoid safe touch houses.
There's the crash and smash technology, the video monitoring.
Yeah, but what's number one?
Gotta be the two-way communicator.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah. The two-way communicator leads to verified alarms, which lead to faster response times, which are all very bad for us crooks.
Which all just circles back to the Crooks R Us golden rule. Stay away from safe touch houses.
Yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hi, it's Phil with the Phil Aiken Home Team at Keller Williams. When it comes time to sell your home, put me and the Aiken Home Team to work for you. Here's why. Over the years, I've perfected the home selling system, putting the most money possible in your pocket. With my exclusive list of buyers in waiting, I may already have your buyer. And with thousands of buyers, I'm likely to create more demand and higher sales prices. I'll even guarantee to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Don't just take it from me. Let me introduce actual clients, Lynn and Craig. Tell us about your home selling experience.
We were immediately at ease. We had a great deal of confidence that any questions we had or anything that we needed to learn about the process was going to be handled in an expert and professional way.
We sold our home in just 2 days for $3,500, more than list price. Anyone who wants to sell needs to call Phil Aiken Home Team.
Thanks for sharing. The number to call is 904-500-PHIL. That's 904-500-7445. Or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
Shopping pre-owned? Then go see our friends at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, where over 400 like-new pre-owned vehicles are on the lot waiting for you. Worried about your credit? Arlington's got you covered with their Credit for Everyone program. If your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, almost everyone is approved. And with Arlington's 30-day exchange policy, you get 30 days to love it or exchange it for total buying confidence. Get everything you want and more, and come see the brand new facility at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
I'm Rochelle Stoddard, president of Berman Brothers and Rubin Ironworks. The skills and relationships I've built through the Jacksonville Women's Business Center were essential as we succeeded in keeping all 70 of our employees on the payroll during the COVID-19 pandemic. Through the Athena PowerLink mentoring program, we had experienced professionals helping us navigate 2020. Jack's Chamber and the Women's Business Center are in our corner, making us stronger in these difficult times. For more information, please visit jackschamberfoundation.org.
I'm Action News Jack's Tanika Hughes, and one of the great things about living in Jacksonville is our diverse communities. It's so important that the local stories we cover in our newscasts reflect the people who live here. That's why we've launched Action News Jack's Gets Real, to get real on issues like racism, housing challenges, and unequal access to health care. It's having difficult conversations, as well as celebrating people making a difference. This is Action News Jack's Gets Real. Real talk, real change.
Welcome to Jacksonville's Frisch Family Holocaust Memorial Gallery. It's a free educational resource with rotating exhibits. It's so important we remember. Jewish Family and Community Services. Here for remembrance. Here for Jacks. Learn more at hereforjacks.com.
Hi, I'm Matt Welch, first vice chair of the Players Championship. The Players Championship is proud to support Pine Castle in its efforts to empower individuals with intellectual and developmental differences. It's 41 days until the Players.
Leave your sister alone. You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
Well, my feeling is I think you have to look at players within the context of their times. And the fact is that the sport was absolutely saturated with PEDs during that time. And the only reason why Bonds and Clemens have got more scrutiny is they were the best. There were literally thousands of players, minor leagues, major leaguers, under MLB's baseball's umbrella who were using. And there are already players who've been inducted to the Hall of Fame who were PED users. And I've been shocked at how the baseball writers, a chunk of them anyway, have essentially deemed themselves morality police.
Absolutely. Buster Olney from ESPN. Nobody goes to the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's the Hall of almost all the greats. Just refuses to be the Hall of all the greats. It's unbelievable, in my opinion. I do this every year. And it really starts with Pete Rose. Listen, Pete Rose has done his time. Pete Rose, if from betting on baseball to anything else as egregious as it's been proven or he denies or whatever else, all this stuff. Okay, he's done his time. I mean, that's why you should never do a lifetime ban, first of all. And now nobody wants to reverse that.
Yeah.
He leads all of baseball in hits. He's the hit king. He was a great player. It's just remarkable that whether it's morality, whether there's different things from a media standpoint, a public perception standpoint, that prevent these guys from voting him in, whether it's just old, stodgy writers, which I don't like doing that to the writers and voters. I don't like labeling them like that. I just feel like, come on. I say this all the time. This is the best way I can say it. I bring my kids to Cooperstown to go to Baseball Hall of Fame, and I want to be able to tell them the story of baseball. I want to be able to show them the story of baseball. I want us to be able to say, this guy played in this era. This guy was great. This guy I read about, whatever. And if you need to put an asterisk near it to say this guy gambled on baseball or bet on baseball or was proven to do this in baseball. Well, fine. We can tell that part of the story, too. In fact, I think it should be told. But his accolades in the game of baseball say he should be a Baseball Hall of Famer. And I believe that with Barry Bonds. I believe that with Roger Clemens. There'll be more of them that come along. And my other big part of this, Austin, is, and I've said this before, build a steroid wing then. Just put these guys in under the steroid era. That is fine. But I firmly, as a baseball fan, believe that Major League Baseball knew what was going on in that era. Steroids helped save baseball because of all the home runs and Stig the long ball. They turned their cheek, and while they turned their cheek, everybody started doing it because it was the only way to stay in the big leagues, get this big money, stay on par with what everybody else was doing. Now, that doesn't take away from should they or shouldn't they. It's wrong. They shouldn't have done it. But some of these guys were great beyond steroids, and I think we all acknowledge and know that. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before the steroid era. Roger Clemens was a Hall of Famer before the steroid era. These guys belong in the Hall. They're some of the greats. And by the way, their stories should be told. It should be all-encompassing that Barry Bonds' head swelled however many inches in 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't count him as the home run king. I don't. I think that is Hank Aaron. In my mind, and that's okay. Tell that part of the story. It's a museum, man. I mean, you have to tell the story of baseball. That's part of the story of baseball, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, without a doubt. As far as, who gets into the Hall of Fame and who doesn't right now, the way it stands, they didn't vote anybody in this year. I'll be honest with you, out of any other sport, I'm completely indifferent to the Baseball Hall of Fame right now where it stands, just because of the points that you mentioned. And I think that the whole point of a Hall of Fame is, yes, I understand stats are the driving factor, but it's also the influence and the history that you had on the game. And when I tell my son about the moments that I remember growing up as a kid following baseball, Sammy Sosa will be in there. Barry Bonds will be in there. Mark McGwire will be in there. Ken Griffey Jr. obviously is in there. And if I can't, like you said, if I can't take my son and showcase, hey man, like when I was your age, like these were the guys. If I can't show him the guys, then in my opinion, the whole Hall of Fame, it's a scam, to tell the truth, and I don't take it seriously. And then you get the whole Curt Schilling thing as well, but that's a whole different topic. But at the end of the day, until those guys get their just due, just like Pete Rose as well, I honestly could care less about the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Listen, I'm a baseball purist, and I get your arguments. I mean, you can be that. You can be the almighty on this and say, oh, well, they were bad people. You want to go through the list of bad people? Do we want to start taking guys' busts out of the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown? There's an integrity to the game. Listen, I appreciate it. I respect it. Tell the whole dang story. That's it. But put them in the damn Hall of Fame. They're Hall of Famers. That should be the end of the story. Writers, you got it wrong again. Get off your high horse. We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, live from Cartersville, Georgia. Trevor Lawrence's hometown. This is where he played football, and one time he took on Bartram Trail. We're going to talk about that game from 2017. Coming up next on ESPN 690. Everyone at CGC Water hopes your new year is off to a fantastic start, and CGC Water wants to give you the gift of clean drinking water. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean water. Right now, CGC Water is offering $1,000 off a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. If you're still not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer. $1,000 off a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure thing. We can help you replace those wipers. If yours are squeaking or streaking, it's probably time. We've got a wide selection of wipers that can stand up to any weather, including the right ones for your make and model. We've even got more ways to get them fast, like our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
By now, you already know the sound of my voice and how much I call out shoddy AC work. So if you're in the business, you're either angry about it or you'd secretly love to come work for me. Well, I'm looking to hire some world-class AC installation techs because Griffin Service only hires the best. And just so we're clear, if you wouldn't rather starve than do turd bucket work, don't call. If you're great with the equipment, but only so-so with customers, you ain't our Huckleberry either. See, you and I both know how an AC is installed is even more important than what's installed. And companies that rush their installers end up cheating their customers out of the performance they're paying for. So if you're tired of doing rip and replace installs that shortchange the customer, or of being an A player surrounded by shortcut taking schmucks, and you want to be paid top dollar plus bonuses, all while working for a family first company, email Tom at griffinservice.com.
License number 1250697.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Small businesses continue to face many challenges resulting from the prolonged pandemic. Business owners are working hard to maintain customers, adjust operations, and retain key personnel. At SCORE, our highly trained counselors are here to offer their assistance. In Jacksonville, SCORE provides services to almost 6,000 individuals annually. In addition to ongoing mentoring, we are conducting webinars on topics that can provide timely advice. Visit jacksonville.score.org today for links with more information.
HBI, a national leader for career training in the building industry, is providing training, certification, and placement in the construction industry for veterans, their spouses, and children that are over the age of 18 at no cost. The following 2021 class dates are being offered: January 11th, February 16th, March 15th, April 12th, May 10th, June 7th. For more program and class details, please call Joe Jones at 407-717-7609 or visit the website at hbi.org.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Doug Brown, the Baseball Writers Association of America, says Curt Schilling should stay on the Hall of Fame ballot next year, his last year of eligibility. The Hall of Fame plans to discuss Schilling's request to be removed from the ballot at its next meeting. As the Chiefs and Buccaneers prepare for Super Bowl 55, former Chiefs head coach Romeo Crennel says the champs might be better than last year.
That system that they are running, they are able to keep their guys together, and I think that everybody has grown in that system.
Romeo Crennel on Key J and Z. Buccaneers head coach Bruce Arians says even if his team wins Super Bowl 55, he won't even think about retirement. Arians is in the second season of a 5-year contract at age 68. Josh Heupel is the new head coach of the Tennessee Vols. He'll get a 6-year deal. For the last 3 years, Heupel was the coach at UCF, where he was hired by Danny White, who's now the new athletic director at Tennessee.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, and an app that lets you bank anytime, anywhere, choosing Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
James Harden, if he wanted to get to Brooklyn, could get to Brooklyn. Him, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, if that happens, they would be the favorite to come out of the East. That could be your NBA Finals next year. The Lakers, LeBron, AD, Dennis Schroeder, is the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Or streaming live on the ESPN app.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
It's probably an easier road now over the last couple of years and what the Falcons have done on the field to go, hey, maybe I'm looking for a new team, and here's a reason to root for something that's a little bit closer to us than other options might have been earlier in the season.
Who was that, Coos? Les Austin. Who was it? Oh, that was the mayor.
Yeah, see, Brett, I think you already forgot about him, too.
I haven't forgotten about him. I just was actually crafting a tweet. Hey, by the way, why did you have to start when you started yesterday? Not the Teal Aqua thing, but the stalking of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence isn't even here. He's in California. I'm here to do background information, so get off me on the feed. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
Oh, they're all me right now?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. I mean, we're just here to see the
Don't antagonize them.
At Cartersville.
Oh, you think I have that kind of power? You're in the dude's hometown. He ain't there. What else would you call it?
Well, background. This is storytelling right here.
Background check.
This is learning all about Trevor Lawrence.
I'll tell you what, man.
With the great people of Cartersville, Georgia.
TMZ Sports better take note right now because Brent Martineau's coming for everybody. He's taking everyone's job this year.
Hey, you should check out the catch I just made with the camera.
It's frozen now.
Yeah, it might have pulled the wind might have knocked it over a little bit. So, Kuz, let me know if it's back on or not, or we'll have to,
you're
reset
good.
it.
Yeah,
okay.
you're good.
It wasn't even that windy. It was kind of odd that it blew it over.
I will say, though, one of the things they were talking about is they were debating on whether or not, like, why you were there and if you were there to get interviews. And so you're getting interviews, but it's more for the TV side, and we're using clips here on the station.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is, and I guess it's worth, I don't want to sit there and bore everybody. But, you know, we usually this time go to Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl, and then we take a couple days back, and then we'll go to the Super Bowl. Well, we're not going to go to the Super Bowl this year. We were scheduled to go to Mobile, but once I learned that Urban Meyer and really Trent Baalke weren't going to be there, it was just going to be scouts, not just, but they're doing their job. But those guys weren't going to be headlining it. I thought, okay, well, let's just go to Cartersville instead. But we're making other stops along the way. So instead of those like 10 or 11 travel days that we normally do around Super Bowl and Senior Bowl, we're doing it a little bit different. We have a Super Bowl special coming up on Saturday before the game on CBS 47 and Fox 30, and I'll be at 7 o'clock on February 6th. So we need to get some content, and the big stories are obviously Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence right now in Jacksonville. It's going to be less about Tampa and the Kansas City Chiefs during that Super Bowl special. And so we took the opportunity to say, hey, let's go dig a little bit more and see what Trevor Lawrence's hometown's all about. And to come still, we might be doing a little more on Urban Meyer as well. That'll be a sneak preview. But we are making a 6-city stop along the way and kind of seeing what we get. I said this yesterday. There's not a lot planned here,
yeah.
You know, because we've put in the request for Trevor Lawrence. He's out in California. He's not doing any media right now. I can tell you this. We put in a request for Dabo Swinney. He's not talking until closer to the draft, at least maybe with the locals. I don't know if he ends up on Rich Eisen and all the national ESPN shows. We're at a different level than that, quite frankly. And so we're going to try to catch up with people along the way. But this has been really fun to kind of learn what everybody here thinks about Trevor Lawrence. And along the way, you kind of learn about this town of Cartersville and this football program that's pretty darn good. And other players like Austin you played with, Fluellen. Mm-hmm. He's a big-time name around here. People love him around here. And, of course, Ronnie Brown. Everybody knows that name from Auburn and the NFL. And so, and that's not it. There's been countless. For a small town, or somewhat small town of 20,000, they have produced many, many athletes, including we just mentioned it, tight end from Alabama who played on this Cartersville team with Trevor Lawrence.
Well, and listen, and I'm not going to – and he's not an athlete, but I'm not going to sit here while you don't mention Wayne Knight every single time you mention famous people from Cartersville, man. Like, with all due respect to Andre Fluellen, I love the dude, but he wasn't in Seinfeld, okay? Wayne Knight was in Seinfeld. He was Newman. So a little respect for Wayne Knight, please, Brent.
Wayne Knight's a big deal around here, too, I think.
He better be. Better be thankful, Cartersville.
So anyway, that's we did this, by the way. Remember, we did this with Gardner Minshew. Would have been not last year, 2 years ago now. And we went to his hometown. And I was actually talking to somebody today. It's a little bit different of a trip, different of a feel, which is, well, that's usual, right? Towns aren't all the same. But Minshew, when we went to his hometown, the whole town had a chip on their shoulder about him, right? He was overlooked. He's this underdog guy. He's an undersized guy, doesn't check the boxes. And they had a little bit of swag about him, kind of like we know Minshew has. And they rallied around him, and it was a cool story, and all that stuff was fun. And they were used to Minshew mania. Well, this town is a little bit different this guy has been great since the start, Yeah. I mean, there's no chip on the shoulder around this town. There's just pride and joy about what kind of guy Trevor Lawrence is, but what kind of player he is and what kind of player he will continue to be from a confidence level here in Cartersville, Georgia. All right, we're going to go to the phone right now. We bring in Bartram Trail head coach Daryl Sutherland. Here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau in Cartersville, Georgia. Trevor Lawrence's hometown. Austin Lane back in the Action Sports Jacks studios. And, Coach, we appreciate you joining us here in the offseason, if you will. But as we interview people around here in Cartersville, Georgia, Trevor Lawrence's hometown, the name Bartram Trail comes up quite a bit. You scared the heck out of these guys a few years back when you played them on ESPN.
It was a great game. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that.
So remind everybody about that game. You guys were down 28. You end up falling short, but that was billed as Joey Gatewood against Trevor Lawrence. You had a lot of good players. It wasn't just those two guys. In fact, Riley Smith, who's playing out at Boise State, and I think he's moved to tight end, actually. They bring up his name around here, too. They know it wasn't just Joey Gatewood. But tell us a little bit about that Friday night where there was, I think, extensive lightning delays, and you finally played on ESPN here in Cartersville.
Yeah, it was. It was a fantastic game that ended about a minute and a half too short. We did it. We had a number of lightning delays. It was funny because I had to give the pregame speech about 4 different times as we were getting ready to go out, and then got called back in. And it was just a lot of great athletes on the field. Great high school football. It was a lot of fun to be a part of it. I tell you, Cartersville did a nice job too. They really put on it was just a great setting and a fun place to play a high school football game.
Yeah, the atmosphere, they say, I think this seats about 5,000. It's not a huge stadium, but they said it was overflowing that night. Could you feel the buzz?
Definitely. And like I say, they as a host were fantastic, and we just had such a great group of young men, and the way they traveled and the way they handled themselves, and to get down early and get that kind of deficit, but then fight back, and the pride they took in to come back and have a chance to win it at the end. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that.
Coach, was there any incentive of the fact that they're playing on national television on ESPN? Because it's one thing if you're in college, obviously, and you're at a big university, you're accustomed to playing, on the big networks. But when you're in high school, that can be kind of a rare occurrence. Did your team have a little extra energy because they knew they were going to be on ESPN?
Sure. That was an awesome honor to get to represent Florida and get to represent St. Johns County and our school. And, I'm pretty biased. I think Bartram has that kind of electric game day atmosphere every Friday night. A little plug there, anybody that wants to come out and see great high school football. But it was special to be on ESPN, and they just did a great job of taking care of everything, getting us up there and, having a great opponent like that. And it was a really fun event.
Daryl Sutherland, Bartram Trail head coach, with us here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Okay, you know what's going on in Jacksonville. You can probably feel the buzz, right, from Urban Meyer as the head coach to Trevor Lawrence in that number 1 pick, likely to be the guy. When you saw him play that high school Friday night, when you had watched tape on him, you've seen a lot of good players. You've coached a lot of good players. What were your first impressions?
The first thing was he was as good as advertised. Everything that we had heard about him, not just as a player. There were some throws that he had made in game film that we saw coming in. We knew what we were getting into, and we're excited about it. We always want to try and play the best competition, and he was definitely a great example of that. But some of the throws he made in our game too, where just the athleticism to get the ball off and the velocity and the placement, he's pretty special. And so for our guys to get to compete against him and to go out there and get to see that talent level was pretty fun.
Isn't that kind of what high school football is about a little bit too? You kind of go back to like Bruce Springsteen's Glory Days song, where you you're having a beverage as a 45 or 50-year-old, and you're talking about the old days playing high school baseball, basketball, football, whatever it might be, and say, hey, yeah, we played against Trevor Lawrence. And listen, you've had many a player that guys would be like, yeah, we played against Joey Gatewood or Riley Smith or you name the guy, right? Trevez Johnson at Florida right now. But isn't that kind of the fun part? I bet the kids that played on that team in that game, ESPN night, lightning delay against Trevor Lawrence in Cartersville, Georgia. I mean, that's a story they'll tell.
Yeah, sure. That's those are some great memories, and some of the guys that they got to play. I'm sure Johnny Amell is going to be able to tell, hey, I sacked that guy, when they're watching the game. And there's some neat memories like that. But I tell you, just from a competitive standpoint, it was such a good game and so cleanly played. You could tell that he was a great leader. The two QBs you mentioned on our side, Riley and Joey, both fantastic young men. I think a lot of that played into it just being such a great competitive game and so clean and so, it was, kind of a slice of Americana, what high school football should be like.
Coach, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories here. We were just across the street at a barbecue place. I'm told to go over there because there's some Trevor Lawrence pictures inside. And so we went over there, and a gentleman who owns the place was telling us, he's reciting play by play from that night. And think about all the big games they've had here. Lawrence and Cartersville won a couple state championships. They just lost in the state championship this year. So there's been a lot of good high school football. But he's remembering that game from 2017. And he remembered Gatewood and Riley Smith. And he said the undertold story about that Cartersville team is that the defense was very good for Cartersville. But you guys almost erased a 28-point deficit. And so I think you still stick out in the minds of folks here in a little northwest of Atlanta because of your offensive prowess and what you guys were able to do. Like you said, it just kind of clicked a little bit too late that night.
Right. Well, I tell you, we're incredibly blessed to have the young men, the honor to coach the guys that we get to coach, and we do. We've got some tremendous players in our history, and that group certainly was, emblematic of that. There were some guys out there that just made some incredible plays, and as I said, just ended a little short.
I'll tell you another story here. We're just talking to Coach Connor here, who's now the head coach. He wasn't the head coach here. He was a defensive coordinator at the time. And he said that Trevor Lawrence actually asked to go in the game on the second to last play at safety so they could hopefully close the game out. And he said if you guys had made one more play right before the horn, he might have put him in. I bet you didn't know that.
That would have been funny. Yeah, because we threw Gatewood out there receiver, so it could have been Lawrence on Gatewood.
Yeah, nobody would have expected that matchup. Lawrence on Gatewood on the outside instead. We're visiting with Darryl Sutherland, head coach Bartram Trail. They played Cartersville, Georgia, Cartersville High School on an ESPN game back in 2017. Let me ask you a little bit more about Trevor. I don't know how much of a fan are you now? Like, you have so much to do high school-wise, and I know in the fall, but do you watch the college game a lot? All your former players that are playing, did you catch some Clemson games? What do you think of him from a football standpoint, as this guy that Jacksonville's going to have as their franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I tell you, one, from what I typically watch on Saturday is I like to watch all of our former players that are out there. And so my wife will laugh because I've usually got the TV on and another TV somewhere in a computer with an ESPN3 pulled up, and have really been blessed, just the guys that we've had come through that are getting a chance to play right now. So I watch it with a little different view now as far as just catching up and watching those guys. But got to watch a number of Clemson games with some of our guys that were playing against him, and obviously I'm a Coach Sweeney fan too, and just the character that he has and the way that he runs that program. So I've seen him play, and I've obviously seen him in the national championship games and the playoffs. The way that he handles himself, and you're getting a pretty polished player there, but also what seems like a really good young man who's going to be not just an impact on the football program, but also on our community.
Yeah, very good. Darryl Sutherland with us, Bartram Trail High School head coach. Let me ask you to finish up with this. The other two guys in that game, and maybe even more, you can tell us about even more players, but the headliners, Joey Gatewood, went to Auburn, then to Kentucky. How's Joey doing? And then Riley Smith, who, I think he's gone from quarterback to tight end and made that transition. How is he doing as well?
They're both doing really well. I'm just so proud of them as far as the way that we talk about not going, kind of like I was just talking about Trevor Lawrence, going to not just impact the team, go impact the campus and the community. And I feel like both those guys have done that. When Boise was playing Florida State, they came and practiced at our site, and when Riley got off the bus, it was like, you can tell he's the mayor of Boise. I mean, he is. They love him there. And same thing with Joey. You can tell in just talking with the staff and the other players there at Kentucky, those are guys that are truly being a positive influence on everybody around them. So just really excited for those two.
Yeah, absolutely. Darryl Sutherland, Bartram Trail head football coach. Coach, we appreciate you on short notice coming on and talking a little bit about that game in 2017. I know it was a memorable one for you guys, unfortunately on the short end, but they talk about it up here quite a bunch, so you left a lasting impression.
That's great. That's great. Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Darryl Sutherland, head football coach at Bartram Trail. And obviously, and I told people up here, hey, listen, that's one of the premier programs we have. He's an incredible coach. He spits out a ton of great players, good young men, does it the right way. And I think the people up here really respect the program and what he's all about, too. So glowing things to say about Bartram Trail, even up here in Cartersville, Georgia. I will say this, Austin, that night, I think I saw the numbers 18 of 22 and a little over 400 yards for Trevor Lawrence. Over 400 yards on 18 completions.
That's ridiculous, especially like a primetime game like that. I mean, against obviously stiff competition. That's very impressive.
Yeah, so pretty cool. The tie is interesting in that regard. And again, I think it's worth noting, I brought this up in the earlier part of the show as we continue to talk about Trevor Lawrence, that he did not lose much at all in high school. There's someone that contends that he only lost really 2 games that he started. But overall, even if he lost 4 times, you get the picture. One of those was on the final second in a state championship game that he lost. One of them was in a state semifinal. So Bartram Trail rallying from 28 down to almost beat Cartersville, it was a big deal, a big scare here. Like, they just don't lose very much, as Trevor Lawrence was the quarterback, and Bartram Trail almost got it done. I'm going to continue to kind of give you an idea of how big Lawrence is around here. There's the Capri Diner right across the street from the school. I'm talking like right across the street, Austin. Okay. Like if you wanted to, in between classes, go get an omelet, you could. We ate over there today, club sandwich, very good. And Trevor Lawrence, this program's a big deal. It's Cartersville. They support their team. You can tell they just built this new $3 million facility. They're going to build more facilities around here, and I'm sure they're going to ask Trevor for a little bit of a donation along the way. But when Trevor played high school football, they stayed open 4 hours on Friday night. They closed at 2 o'clock usually, but they would stay open or reopen later on a Friday because of the craze that was going on while Trevor was playing. And the amount of people that came from out of town with the visiting team or just out of town in general to watch Lawrence play. I mean, that's how big of a deal it was at the time, just to paint a picture that a place that's usually open from, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. would stay open on a Friday night into the later hours just because they knew business was booming.
Of course, man. You have to maximize that profit margin. I appreciate that. Hustling.
Yeah, no doubt. Here's one other part of that I think is really cool. So, we got to track this down, all right? We have a mission sometimes on our show, but this is a mission that we need to track this person down. The owner of the Capri Diner across the way was telling me, and I think he knew we were from Jacksonville, but he kind of said it in passing, and we were like, really? Like Jacksonville, Florida? He said, when Trevor Lawrence would play here in Cartersville on a Friday night, there was a man that would come up from Jacksonville, Florida, to watch Trevor play. He'd bring his son every Friday night and drive up. And he ate at that diner all the time. And the owner of the restaurant says he was from Jacksonville, Florida. I said, well, do you have his name? Like, who is that? It's like, I never got his name, but he sat right here. I said, why do you come up here? He's like, I want to come see a guy that's going to be in the pros.
Wow.
And so, word must have spread at that time how good he was, and this guy from Jacksonville must have known. It wasn't a relative or anything, but we got to find this man from Jacksonville, Florida, who would come up on Friday nights to Cartersville, Georgia, make a 6-hour trek, bring his kid up, and watch Trevor Lawrence play high school football because he thought he was going to be one of the all-time greats.
That is commitment
Brent,
right there.
We got you doing background checks on Trevor Lawrence. You can find him.
Well, I need a little help. I mean, hey, you think, listen, at least I didn't come up every Friday night.
That's what I'm saying, man. Hopefully that guy was in Yulee as well. I mean, I'm sure he had the hot tip of the Yulee Bulldozer. He better have. Or he's doing his son a disservice by not taking to see Derrick Henry as well. That's
like
crazy.
we were just stunned. We're like, wait a minute, come on, are you serious? Like from Jacksonville, Florida? But he doesn't know his name. We got to find out who this guy is. Hope he listens to the show. Who is this person that would come up every Friday night? I wonder if he went to Clemson too.
I mean, I feel like you're almost halfway there. You might as well go to Clemson and check out Trevor Lawrence. It's almost like you're growing up with him.
I would imagine those two folks will have Trevor Lawrence Jags jerseys.
Without
in teal,
a doubt.
Of course.
In teal, not
teal.
aqua.
More of the NFL. Jared Goff and Johnny Wolford. Big story today. And I want to spin that. We talked a lot about quarterbacks yesterday. When is the time to pull the plug on the franchise QB? Let's get to it next. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 live in Cartersville, Georgia, with the Jaguars' next franchise quarterback. It's his hometown, at least. Trevor Lawrence.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Clouds will give way to scattered showers and even a few thunderstorms. It'll be warm before the rain moves in, topping out close to 80 degrees, turning colder overnight tonight with clearing skies, dropping into the 40s by morning. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where you get the lowest diamond price guaranteed or your money back.
Everyone at CGC Water hopes your new year is off to a fantastic start, and CGC Water wants to give you the gift of clean drinking water. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean water. Right now, CGC Water is offering $1,000 off a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. If you're still not filtering your water, you are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer. $1,000 off a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier Softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade for Phil Aiken Home Team Keller Williams Realty. I'm talking with Greg and Gary about their recent home sale. Why did you call Phil Aiken?
We called Phil Aiken because we had heard that his team will sell your house quickly and for more money than any of the other realtors in town.
Tell us what happened.
Phil Aiken and his A-team, they will make the process very easy. Sold in 4 days and got over asking price.
Well, that's great. So how did you think they were able to sell it so fast?
Because Phil has the buyers and they have the team that can get the job done quickly and stress-free.
What would you tell a friend who is looking for a real estate agent to sell their home?
Would I recommend Phil Aiken and the A-team? Absolutely.
Well, the results speak for themselves, right? Phil Aiken and his team have the systems and will even guarantee to sell your home in writing or buy it himself.
Yes, we got better results than we expected.
Thanks, Gary. Friends, hire the agent with the buyers looking to buy a home right now. Call Phil Aiken. Call 500-PHIL. That's 500-PHIL or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Do you know that there are 7 steps that can help to ensure a lifetime of success for your child or grandchild, even though they may have trouble controlling their anger or lack of focus or respect for others? Karate America takes pride in the tens of thousands of children they've impacted. Imagine your child or grandchild showing and earning respect, setting and achieving goals, and making good grades. Visit karateamerica.info to see if Karate America's leadership program is a good fit for your child.
Saying goodbye to a loved one is never easy. Hi, I'm Larry Self, owner of the Casket Store. For the past 20 years, we've been helping people create the perfect cemetery headstone. Our process is simple, no pressure, and our prices are surprisingly low. We install headstones, bronze markers, and upright monuments in any cemetery in the Southeast. We also offer bronze plaques for churches and schools. For more information and to see our work, please visit us at thecasketstore.com.
You'll never paint your house again. Call the coating man.
The only company with a true never paint your house again warranty, providing the most advanced protective paints and coatings on the market, guaranteed never to fade, chip, crack, or peel as long as you own your home. For a free estimate and to save up to 40% off, call 888-COAT-USA. That's 888-COAT-USA, or visit their showroom, 2000 Wells Road.
Call the coating man.
Hey, do you owe more than $25,000 on your car, a truck, or that toy in the driveway? Refinance your auto loan with One-to-One Financial. We'll not only lower your payments, but we'll put $200 cash in your pocket. Plus, we have the lowest loan rates in town. Make some room in your budget and put more cash in your pocket. When you refinance with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Apply today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Brent Martineau.
Then I said, still looking for his 4th career sack.
Austin Lane.
I'm spending pretty much every single day with somebody for pretty much 2 years now that you know somebody, and they surprise you. I sit here before you right now, and I am surprised.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
When you look at it, Jared Goff has had a mixed career with the Rams. Started off with Jeff Fisher, not so great. Sean McVay comes in, they do well. Then they go to the Super Bowl. But what Sean did is he had training wheels on him early on. Turned to the sideline. I called the play right before the right before the clock ran down. They snapped the ball. Boom, go. Boom, boom, boom. Then they took the training wheels off of Jared Goff, and he didn't have Sean McVay kind of helping him along the way of changing plays and doing things within his headset before they cut it off. And he kind of teetered along. So he's been a solid quarterback, but he hasn't taken the $130-40 million step. He hasn't done that yet. And I think when you look at it, it's starting to become frustrating to Sean as a coach, because he could be a coach killer if he continues playing this way and if you continue to play him.
That's Keyshawn Johnson, Keyshawn J. Zubin, ESPN 690 in the morning, 6 a.m. until 10 a.m., part of the lineup here on ESPN 690 in Jacksonville. But as you know, you can get the show all over the place. In fact, we've had a lot of folks here in Cartersville listening to the show, I believe, over the last couple of days. And maybe we put them as part of the roll call, Austin Lane, back in the Action Sports Jack studios.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can listen all over the place on all the different applications, ESPN690.com. In your car, of course, in the Jacksonville area, but all the way into southeast Georgia and deep below St. Augustine and St. Johns County. All the rest, and then Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You can get the show everywhere, and don't forget to subscribe to the Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 podcast. I got it all in.
Nicely done. I'll tell you what I'm doing right now, Brent. Watching the Senior Bowl. I like what I'm seeing here, just from like what they're doing with the competitions and stuff like that, kind of all access, if you will. And Mac Jones having a pretty good day so far, from what I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We by the way, we did an interview last night. I don't know if we're going to play it for you today. Probably not, because our show will be off at 5:30 today. So we'll probably do it by the end of the week. But I did an interview with Marvin Wilson, Florida State.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle. And it was kind of funny, because the way these things come about right now, they're being done virtually. So of all the technology things that we can do, one of the weird things to do is record a phone call. Like, you can actually do, like, you can't just record a phone call. off your phone. You have to have some other kind of setup.
You have to have like an app
we
or
can
something.
do a Zoom. We can do a Zoom call and record that off the phone, but we can't actually record the phone call. So we're sitting about 9:30 last night. We get the call at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
and it says, "Hey, in 10 minutes, you guys can have Marvin Wilson." Well, we're like driving at 9 o'clock, and okay, well, let's try it. So we pull over. We get to the side of the road. 10 minutes go by, and we do this interview with Marvin Wilson. And I think it's okay on our end in the car. But wherever they did this interview with him, they must have been doing 500 other interviews at the same time. Like the background noise, it was like he was at a rock concert, man.
Yeah.
So quite honestly, we have to fix the interview a little bit because I have no idea if we're going to be able to understand anything with all the noise. But he was great. You know, I kind of got thinking about it, and we're going to talk about franchise quarterbacks here in a second, but talk about a guy who went off the radar. Marvin Wilson was a top 10, top 15 projected guy. And everybody's talking about the Barmore kid now, the defensive lineman out of Alabama, maybe has that 25th overall pick. The Jags may be able to steal a guy like Marvin Wilson in the second round, and he can move all over that defensive front. I wouldn't mind that, man. There's potentially some big-time value with Marvin Wilson deeper down into the draft.
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously when he chose to opt and play would it be his senior year or junior year?
It'd be his technical. Well, I guess it would have been his junior year. He probably could have come on after, maybe it was a redshirt sophomore. But we know what you're talking about.
I mean, that's always so complicated. But he had the option to go to the NFL draft and probably would have made some pretty good money doing it. But he chose to come back. He was kind of that bridge guy. You get a new coaching staff. And obviously that new culture change. And it was off to a rocky start, obviously, with the whole Mike Norvell stuff. But overall, Wilson's he's definitely intriguing, Brent, right? Because you expect the guy with that leadership, you expect the guy that's, obviously highly respected in that locker room to have a big-time year. Now, let's not get it twisted. Florida State wasn't that great this year on the gridiron, but at the same time, I think you may have saw a little, downplay a little bit on the skill set and just the production of Marvin Wilson. So, to me, right now, the Senior Bowl, that's huge for him. As I'm watching him actually right now, number 21, how could you not see him? He's wearing 21 as a defensive, he's a nose tackle, weighs 300-something pounds. But with that being said, that's where the Senior Bowl comes into guys like Marvin Wilson. Right? Because you've seen the good. You've heard the good. But for whatever reason, this past season, it wasn't all good and it wasn't all great. This is his opportunity now against, the best competition in college football to showcase, hey, whatever happened this past season at Florida State, that's not who I am. Let me show you what I can do right now and kind of leave that last impression on the scouts and the coaches.
Yeah, it's big a moment for him. He told us he tried to get back in time for the Senior Bowl so he could kind of put on a show. He's finally healthy again. So coming up this week, we'll have a conversation with Marvin Wilson if we can hear it.
Yeah.
Is really the moral of that story. But that's what's going on at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. We'll actually have a report with Jaguars.com and Ashlyn Sullivan coming up on TV, CBS 47 and Fox 30 from the Senior Bowl once again as she catches up with a former Ohio State Buckeye who played under Urban Meyer. I want to talk quarterbacks again. It's a big topic this week. It's an incredible topic in the NFL. Just obviously we know how big of a position it is. But all these different potential places for these big-time, big contract quarterbacks, some proven, some, invested in but not proven. Jared Goff kind of fits that, right? Goff goes to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Seems like a system guy as much as there is one in the NFL. You could label it. How much was it McVay? How much is Goff? He shows some moments of being really good, and then there's others that it's like, eh. And it seems like he's almost fallen out of favor. And Johnny Wolford, the Jacksonville kid from Bishop Kenny, who got a chance to play, then was named the starter over Jared Goff, although Goff was coming back from surgery. Still, Wolford got that start in the playoff game and then goes down, and Goff plays okay, and they end up winning that game. But there's an interesting story developing out in L.A., and when we did the quarterback carousel and the matchmaker thing yesterday, Goff's one of those guys I believe I kept in L.A., because I'm not sure anybody else really wants him with that kind of contract. So it sounds like it's going to be a Goff and Wolford battle for that job in L.A. That doesn't say much about Jared Goff, does it?
No, not at all. Now, how much legs there is to that, I mean, it's not really a rumor because the GM even came out and said there's going to be a battle. And if you listen to their GM talk about Jared Goff, there's not a lot of confidence there. stemming from the GM. But like with that being said, though, and with all due respect to Johnny Wolford, I thought he came in and did a great job while he could. I think Jared Goff's in a situation right now where you saw when he first came out, I guess his second year would have been with Sean McVay. Like, we always called Jared Goff the system quarterback, all right? And it's one of the biggest insults that you can throw at a starting quarterback in the NFL. But let's be honest, it was kind of the truth because you saw Jared Goff when they went to the Super Bowl, like, that was Sean McVay calling the plays, right? And that was Sean McVay, like, checking out of things as well. And Jared Goff was kind of secondary in that play calling and those checkdowns and everything like that. So it was really Sean McVay's baby. Now that they've gone 12 personnel and they start to run the ball a little more and they change things up because, let's be honest, the Patriots kind of exposed them, that bunch formation, and Sean McVay, being the offensive guru that he was, he said, all right, it's time to adapt, it's time to evolve, and let's go on to the next biggest thing for us. And that's 12 personnel. That's 2 tight ends. That's Cam Akers out of the backfield. It's play action to Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods or Josh Reynolds. So, like, the offense, to me, is still a force to be reckoned with. But in doing that, you leave Jared Goff with a lot more freedom now. He has a lot more option. And if you want to say this year, I'm not sure what his stats say off the top of my head, but I would assume that his numbers went down. I think that his success, his completion percentage, everything went down this year. Now, once again, you maybe ran the ball a little more, but at the same time, there's a lot more mistakes that were made. And I think right now, Jared Goff is in his career where Sean McVay is like, listen, man, are you the guy going forward or not? So I think at the end of this, at the end of the day, when training camp starts and when the smoke settles, I think Jared Goff will still be the starting quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams. But I think this is kind of like to put him all in and say, you better step it up this year, because if you don't, other options will be had.
Yeah. How soon should you give up on a guy, though? Listen, you could make the case Jacksonville hung on way too long for Blake Bortles, right? Didn't flip it quick enough. I mean, you got to be careful, right? It's a tough thing. I mean, do you give a guy time? You made an investment. Sometimes you're forced to give up $30 million a year contracts.
Yeah.
But you also can set your organization back. That's a tough little balance.
No, listen, it's definitely a balance, and every situation's different. I'm going to say from Jared Goff's perspective, he's going on his, I think his 6th year coming up now. Listen, he's gone to the Super Bowl. That buys you a little bit of time. That can buy you a new contract. But I truly feel like if he doesn't take the reins this year and show that he's we'll call it a top 8 quarterback even, I think LA goes in a new direction, because for the amount of money that they're paying him right now, Brent, they're obviously not getting a return on their investment.
Well, and keep in mind, they've got a little bit of window here. That defense is really good. I mean, how long will it stay that good? And so they need better offensive play, quarterback play, and McVay's an offensive guy. Mm-hmm. So we'll see with all the quarterbacks in this offseason. By the way, some severe weather in the area. It looks like it might be clearing up a little bit in Jacksonville. I'm not talking here. There's just some raindrops here in Cartersville, Georgia. But make sure you pay attention to CBS 47, Fox 30, 104.5, WOKV, and also you can get an update on ESPN690.com as well. Be safe out there as there's some nasty weather in the Jacksonville area this afternoon. We'll be back here from Cartersville, Georgia, Cartersville High School, the site of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. The SEC schedule is out. Any surprises? No more all SEC schedule. That was the toughest thing that ever happened, talk. It's back to normalcy, we think. We'll talk about it.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Wednesday. I'm Jake Mitchell. For the first time since 1960, no one will be enshrined in Cooperstown at the National Baseball Hall of Fame. None of the players, including Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, or leading vote getter Curt Schilling, got the minimum 75% votes needed to get in. All 3 stars will be on their last year of writers' eligibility next year. After the 10th year, there's a Veterans Committee that makes the decision. And Schilling wants to be left off the writers' ballot next year so that he can, quote, defer to the Veterans Committee and men whose opinions actually matter and who are in position to actually judge a player. Here's ESPN baseball analyst Tim Kirkesian on the situation.
I'm not surprised at all by the results. That's just the feel I had for this. What I was surprised by is that Bonds, Clemens, and Schilling made very little progress upward here.
The Sports Center Update is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
By now,
You already know the sound of my voice and how much I call out shoddy AC work. So if you're in the business, you're either angry about it or you'd secretly love to come work for me. Well, I'm looking to hire some world-class AC installation techs because Griffin Service only hires the best. And just so we're clear, if you wouldn't rather starve than do turd bucket work, don't call. If you're great with the equipment, but only so-so with customers, you ain't our Huckleberry either. See, you and I both know how an AC is installed is even more important than what's installed. And companies that rush their installers end up cheating their customers out of the performance they're paying for. So if you're tired of doing rip and replace installs that shortchange the customer, or of being an A player surrounded by shortcut taking schmucks, and you want to be paid top dollar plus bonuses, all while working for a family first company, email Tom at griffinservice.com.
License number 1250697.
Hi, it's Phil with the Phil Aiken Home Team at Keller Williams. When it comes time to sell your home, put me and the Aiken Home Team to work for you. Here's why. Over the years, I've perfected the home selling system, putting the most money possible in your pocket. With my exclusive list of buyers in waiting, I may already have your buyer. And with thousands of buyers, I'm likely to create more demand and higher sales prices. I'll even guarantee to sell your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it myself. Don't just take it from me. Let me introduce actual clients, Lynn and Craig. Tell us about your home selling experience.
We were immediately at ease. We had a great deal of confidence that any questions we had or anything that we needed to learn about the process was going to be handled in an expert and professional way.
We sold our home in just 2 days for $3,500, more than list price. Anyone who wants to sell needs to call Phil Aiken Home Team.
Thanks for sharing. The number to call is 904-500-PHIL. That's 904-500-7445. Or visit philhasthebuyers.com.
Are you a golfer? Is someone you love a big golfer? Are your clients or customers golfers? If so, you must right now get the best golf card in Jacksonville. It's a discount card for 8 premier courses, and as a bonus with this exclusive golf card, you receive free things like from Smoothie King, a free smoothie, a free hat from Dome Hats, a free shirt from Baker Sports. It's only $95, but quantities are limited. Go to ESPN690.com to see all the details. Save hundreds of dollars at ESPN690.com with a Dream 18 card.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
The United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. At the Equal Justice Initiative, we believe mass incarceration has to end. There is this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that gets assigned to Black and brown people. We have to confront our history of racial injustice and commit to a new era of truth. There's something better waiting for us, something that feels more like freedom. Truth can inspire change. Please learn more at EJI.org.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. March to Get Screened is celebrating its 12th year supporting colon cancer awareness and life-saving screenings. Held on March 28th, March to Get Screened is a family affair including a 5K race, a 1-mile fun run, and fun activities for all. Safety measures will be in place as well as virtual participation options. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation. Register today, donate, or for more information, head to marchtoGetScreened.com. That's marchtoGetScreened.com.
You decided to upgrade your outdoor deck. So you ordered the essentials: a power washer, a set of patio chairs, and a shiny new grill. And you used your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a Preferred Rewards member, which you put towards your most essential deck addition, a bird feeder. Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
CD, your Florida Gators, here they are.
Yeah, Florida's schedule may be the most difficult within the conference this season.
You rotate Alabama on from the West. You have your normal rivalry with LSU from that division. You play Georgia, who's the favorite probably in the SEC East heading into this season. It's going to be a challenge for the Gators, particularly because they're replacing so many great players on that offense, including Kyle Trask.
That is Chris Doering, SEC Network, ESPN coverage of the SEC schedule release. We'll tell you all about the Florida Gators, Georgia Bulldogs schedule coming up in just a moment, but he did mention Alabama is on the schedule, so that's obviously a marquee matchup, and you just hope things don't change coming into 2021, a long way away from that. Brent Martineau in Cartersville, Georgia, Trevor Lawrence's hometown, Austin Lane back in the Action Sports Shack studios. We will discuss the SEC schedule release in just a moment. But let's bring in our friend Mike Lester from Talon Wealth Management right now. It's time for the Money Minute here on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Tough day on Wall Street, Mike. The Dow dropped 600 points.
Yeah, about 633 today. So, that's the worst we've seen since about October. So, it caught a lot of people's attention. I think that certainly there are some concerns. The big issue today was waiting to see what the Fed was going to say around 2 o'clock. Markets were off pretty much the whole day, and then went negative after that 2 o'clock Fed meeting there. So, basically the Fed just acknowledged that there's been a little bit of a downshift in activity economically, and that this pandemic might take longer to recover from than maybe people were hoping. Things have really been stocks have been bid up here. If you look at the first part of January, people have been very, very hopeful that vaccines and the economy are going to work together and get these numbers up. So I'm not surprised to see it pull back a little bit. I wouldn't be overly concerned right now, but I think it'll get some people's attention that you should probably understand what your portfolio is likely to do here moving forward, because we are going to have some volatility.
And the best way to understand that, to give Mike Lester with Talon Wealth Management a call, 904-515-5000. You can visit guardingyournestegg.com. You listen to Guarding Your Nest Egg on the weekends here on ESPN 690 as well. So make sure you check out the show for all your financial needs and to see what the market's doing, what you should do with your money. Mike, it's really been very steady over the last few weeks. We saw so much volatility, it feels like, over the last couple of years. So kind of like you mentioned, this is a bit of volatility for the first time in a while, but I feel like you have been saying, and a lot of folks will say, there's got to be a correction along the way, so it can't be that surprising.
No, markets are overvalued. What it means is people are paying more for stocks than the companies are actually worth. So you had some other things in the news today. Tesla missed the expectations for earnings, but Tesla was up 700% back in 2020 last year. So, it's just not shocking to see a pullback in markets. And I would expect a correction at some point. It's just a natural part of a healthy market. It doesn't go straight up all the time. You can get a correction before you get the next new high. But again, understand where you're at, what your portfolio is likely to do. And I can tell you have a lot less stress over the future.
Complimentary analysis and plan. Mike Lester, Talon Wealth Management, 904-515-5000, or visit guardingyournestegg.com. Give Mike a call or look him up on the site. Mike, thanks for the Money Minute here on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690.
No problem. Have a good day.
You too. I'll bring back Austin Lane now, and we go to the SEC schedule. The Florida Gators play Alabama. That is certainly the highlight of the SEC schedule for the Gators.
Yeah.
They will look different, no doubt, in 2021. But here it is, just to run it down. There are out-of-conference games now. Florida Atlantic to open the season. South Florida in Tampa the next week. Then it's Alabama. Then Tennessee, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. It's interesting. Tennessee obviously announces Josh Heupel today as their new head coach. So you'd think there's going to be a bit of a rebuild for the Vols. Once again, or at least they try to correct that. Kentucky's Kentucky. Been better, but they're still Kentucky. Vanderbilt's been terrible. So to start the year, Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and then you sandwich Alabama in. Yeah. Outside of Alabama, it's a very manageable schedule for Florida, but the Alabama game's Alabama.
No, without a doubt. The Alabama game, listen, that's the big one, right? And you got it at the Swamp as well. And Emma's going to always reload. All right, like there's gonna be a drop off this year with Mac Jones. Like, yeah, I mean, I think they say Bryce Young's probably gonna be the quarterback.
Yeah,
We'll see how that pans out.
5-star guy
in training. Yeah, exactly, right. So they're probably not gonna skip a beat there. They're gonna reload and relock on receivers. So like Alabama's gonna be good, but the question comes is, can somebody get them early? Like, I'm excited for the Alabama-Miami. I mean, opening night of college football. Like the Hurricanes, and we'll see if Derek King is 100% with that knee injury.
Yeah,
but
true.
I'm excited for that game, right? I mean, to me, that's a pretty good opening night, because if you're going to beat Alabama, and let's be honest, that's easier said than done. But if you're going to catch them slipping, you're going to catch them slipping in the first couple weeks, right? When they get the new quarterback established, when they get the new team established. So I'm excited for that Miami game as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And so the rest of the schedule for the Florida Gators, let me get to it. You got LSU after that swing against Tennessee, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. That's in Baton Rouge this year. You got a bye right before the Georgia game in Jacksonville. South Carolina to follow. Samford is another out-of-conference game. Missouri, and then Florida State in Gainesville this year. So it's a good-looking schedule. It's a hefty schedule. It's highlighted, of course, by Alabama, LSU, Georgia, and Florida State. And those will be the critical games. And, Chris Doering just said it as we were coming back in. Obviously, the Gators have some work to do in terms of figuring out that offense. You can't even hope that the offense is as dynamic as it was this year. I mean, that would just be misleading to do. It was so good. It's tough to duplicate that. I think the big thing for the Gators is they have to hope that defense is so much better than it was this past year. Meanwhile, for Georgia, how about this, man? They get Clemson on September 4th in Charlotte to start things. UAB, then you got the schedule: South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, at Auburn, Kentucky, Florida in Jacksonville, of course, Missouri, Tennessee, Charleston Southern is one of those out-of-conference games for them, so along with UAB. But Clemson, what a blockbuster to open the season. You bring up Miami, Alabama, and you get Clemson, Georgia to start the year. Pretty good stuff. Let's hope we have those games, and it's not like last year where a lot of stuff has to be moved around.
No, for sure. I mean, between the Miami and the Alabama and the Georgia and the Clemson game, like that's what you want from opening week of college football, right? Because, like, sometimes, I get it, sometimes it's two big names, but you have a pretty good idea of who's going to win it. Like, obviously, you're going to lean towards Clemson a little more, but, I mean, Georgia, they always come back with a lot of starters back in their defense and things like that on their offense. Like, I'm excited for the open week in college football, and hopefully, like you said, it stays the same.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Austin, sometimes you make good decisions, sometimes not so good, right? The weather's not great back in Jacksonville. Hopefully everybody's staying safe. I hear there's tornado warnings and other things, so hopefully it's okay. The weather here is actually a very nice day, but we saw some rain in the forecast. Well, then it dropped down in terms of how much rain was going to be. So I was like, let's just try outside. Coach said, hey, my office is right here. You can just take my office. I was like, we'll go outside. Football in the back, football stadium background on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch feeds. I like that. We'll hustle in if it gets too bad. This is so annoying, the rain out here, is what I'm trying to get at right now.
Yep.
I mean, it was like just a sprinkle here or there, just that annoying mist.
Yep.
And now it's starting to come down.
Yep.
And now I'm not as prepared as I should be.
Yeah.
And we only have a half hour today left on the show, so now I'm not moving the stuff inside. I'm just going to gut it out. I'm going to tough it out.
All right, man. I mean, you could start covering that Cartersville basketball team if you feel like and go in the gym, but all right, man.
I should just move stuff inside and throw up some weight on the show.
Now we're talking.
I mean, how much can I bench live on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690? It's not much. We'll be back.
I'll take the
5
under.
o'clock hour. Good idea. We'll be back from a rainy Cartersville, Georgia on ESPN 690.
For DIY projects, the Home Depot's always in your corner. Now with our mobile app, it can also be in the palm of your hand. With digital tools like image search, snap a picture of something. It'll recognize it and serve up product suggestions in seconds. And our product locator will check availability and lead you right to it. The Home Depot mobile app. Download it today to get started. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Join the movement to end colon cancer. March to Get Screened is celebrating its 12th year supporting colon cancer awareness and life-saving screenings. Held on March 28th, March to Get Screened is a family affair including a 5K race, a 1-mile fun run, and fun activities for all. Safety measures will be in place as well as virtual participation options. All proceeds benefit the nonprofit Borland Groover Foundation. Register today, donate, or for more information, head to marchtoGetScreened.com. That's marchtoGetScreened.com.
The new motto is seize the day. That's why you got to go see your friends at Arlington Toyota, because their super low payments are going to put a brand new Toyota in your driveway tonight. Right now at Arlington, take your pick. A new 2021 RAV4 LE or a new 2021 Tacoma SR5. You choose, 0 down or buy for just $299 a month. This is a purchase, not a lease. Seize the day in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota and come see their brand new facility when you shop safely in person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/January for full details.
Hey, do you owe more than $25K on your car, a truck, or that toy in the driveway? Refinance your auto loan with One-to-One Financial. We'll not only lower your payments, but we'll put $200 cash in your pocket. Plus, we have the lowest loan rates in town. Make some room in your budget and put more cash in your pocket. When you refinance with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Apply today at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Do you have a passion for sales? Are you known for building strong relationships? Do you love to compete and win? CMG Jacksonville is searching for a talented individual to join our family as a media consultant. This position will require a committed person who will forge great relationships with Jacksonville's business leaders and develop profitable campaigns for advertisers. If your talents are a match, email your resume to jaxjobs@cmg.com. That's JAXJOBS@cmg.com or call 245-8732.
You'll never paint your house again. Call the Coating Man.
The only company who offers the world's best paint and the most advanced protective coatings on the market, guaranteed never to fade, chip, crack, or peel for as long as you own your home. Call for a free estimate by the end of the month and receive up to 40% off. Call 888-COAT-USA. That's 888-COAT-USA. Or visit their showroom, 2000 Wells Road.
Call the Coating Man.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students, elementary through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org to learn more.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Allowing what we think of the man, not when it comes to cheating around the game, not when it comes to any of those things. When we start allowing our views of someone else's views to impact whether or not they're a Hall of Famer, it becomes a very dangerous, slippery slope for voters that will now, moving forward, always be able to use their own morality as a reason to keep someone out of the Hall. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Jason Fitz.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Veteran NFL tight end Jason Witten is retiring after 16 seasons with the Cowboys and then his final season with the Raiders this year. Witten plans to sign a one-day contract with Dallas to retire as a Cowboy. He's the franchise leader in catches and receiving yards, and he's second in touchdown catches. Saints GM Mickey Loomis says his team will not be rebuilding in the offseason. The Saints have won 4 straight division titles, but may have to replace Drew Brees at quarterback and could be up to $100 million over the salary cap. The Baseball Hall of Fame board will consider Curt Schilling's request to be taken off the Hall ballot for his final year of eligibility. Baseball writers believe removing Schilling's name would be against the Hall's own rules. Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell is now in the NBA concussion protocol. He'll miss tonight's game against the Mavericks. From the NHL, Penguins GM Jim Rutherford resigns today for personal reasons during his 7th season with the team.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah, I mean, he reminds me a lot of Tony Gonzalez back when he was unbelievable, just trying to stop him. Because he's got wide receiver skills, and he runs like a wide receiver. He runs routes like a wide out. He beats corners. So it's a hard challenge, but Tyler will come up with some schemes. But again, we got to get after the quarterback, and we can't let him run around and make those crazy plays that he and Kelsey do so well.
It's raining in Cartersville. Who was that?
Bruce
that
Arians.
was somebody on Tampa. That was Arians. I don't know Arians' voice. It's funny. They were interviewing Arians after the NFC Championship game. I'm like, that's not a recognizable voice to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's a really good media guy. You'd think we'd have more knowledge of what he said over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
I am fighting this rain right now, just to let you know.
Hey, I mean, I just saw I'm seeing the video right now of what you're having to go through. And as Kuz admitted to it, and I definitely agree with him, it looks like you've taken the sniper class right now in Call of Duty, and we're going on with the full camouflage everything. That's what you look like.
How bad's the feed? I'm trying to keep the lens clean. Problem is, we got an umbrella, but I'm really just trying to keep the equipment dry.
Sure.
Again, this was like a misting rain, and now it's kind of gone full go in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And we only have like 25 minutes left on the show, and quite frankly, I'm not moving everything.
Oh,
so I'm going to battle through it.
Yep.
And so, see these blankets? Like I got these blankets right there, these fleece blankets, and my mom likes to sew.
Sure.
So Mom, over the years, has made us so many of these blankets. She has all this fabric, and she'll make the kids a blanket.
I have some of those as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
And so, they're great. But there's like, sooner or later, I had to put a moratorium on the blankets that Mom would send us. Because I'm like, Mom, how many of these things do we need? I mean, we have 40 of them. There's horse ones, there's baseball ones,
oh, yeah.
there's Jags colors, teal, by the way. There's all these different things. And so, but Mom's blankets are coming in handy right now because I got one umbrella, I got one blanket over the camera, and I got another blanket right now over me because now I'm trying not to get so soaked that I can't even go on TV in a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, those blankets are a game changer.
They're pretty good.
We have a Milwaukee Brewers one that we like to feature on our couch nightly. So, yeah, those are definitely the game changer. But check this out, though. Back in the day, my mom used to do the same thing and make those blankets. She used to put in an extra little compartment, though, for your feet. So it was like an extra little cubby hole for your feet. So you slide your feet right in there, man. You cozy up. You want to talk about, should be patented in every single blanket? The foot cubby in a blanket is the ultimate game changer, believe me.
Well, I think my mom could have patented several things, kind of to your point, something like that people have now caught on and gone on like Shark Tank for. If my mom would have just said, yeah, I'm going to go push this, produce this, and it's tricky to do that, right? I mean, how many can you make if you're sewing them by hand? But
True.
I agree. She used to make the kids this was a good one, and I know this is a thing now, and I'm not saying my mom was the first one to make them, but obviously you really don't pay attention to kids stuff when you don't have kids.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Coos? Coos can vouch for that. But then once you do have kids, then you pay attention to kid stuff. Well, my mom used to make the bibs, but they would catch the food. The kind of bibs that you'd catch the foods that the kid missed.
Okay.
And it would be like a little pocket, right?
Oh.
And so I was like, man, that's an ingenious idea.
Sure.
What I really don't know is if my mom stole that idea already and they already had those on the market, or since I've seen them and they've come out on the market.
Oh, they definitely have them now.
Yeah, they definitely have
Yeah.
them. And so I just don't know if my mom was like, I can do that. And so she did
missed
it for
out.
us. Or if she really started a trend. I don't know the timing of that. But
You should have had a patent on that, Miss Martineau. You would have made a killing.
I know. You could do some of those things. All right, what were we talking about? Sports still? Are we still on sports?
Yeah.
Steven,
If
that's
you
right.
want to talk
Thanks.
about sports.
Steven, save us, Steven, on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What you got, man?
Hey, I tweeted you Saturday with since you guys were discussing receivers and the big three names Friday.
Okay.
I had an idea to go towards how about maybe Curtis Samuel from Carolina. He's another dual threat like Laviska Shenault. He's a free agent this year. With a bonus, he played for Ohio State with Urban Meyer. I mean, I believe that's a bonus. And I looked on Sport Track as well. He's market value around $11 million a year.
All right, Steven, I like it. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. I'm okay with that. I think a lot of people are doing that right now with Urban and saying, okay, Curtis Samuel, Ohio State guy, that makes sense. And again, I don't know if I hate it. We were throwing out names like Allen Robinson. We threw out Galladay. We threw out Marvin Jones as more of a B-list guy. We threw out Chris Godwin.
Oh, thank you, Brent. I was waiting for you to say his name because I'm a big Chris Godwin guy.
And so, I mean, I don't know where Curtis Samuel seems a little bit different than those guys.
Yeah, so here's the thing with Curtis Samuel. As far as a wide receiver, you wouldn't count him as a one or possibly even really a two, maybe like a slot guy. But Curtis Samuel is a gadget guy. Curtis Samuel in that Carolina offense this past season made a lot of bread and made his money running like jet sweeps or actually lining up like as a third down back and then catching balls out of the backfield. Whether or not Urban Meyer can use him as a gadget guy, like obviously you think of gadget guy, you think of Percy Harvin, right? Because Percy Harvin was kind of that jack of all trades dude at Florida that Urban Meyer loved to utilize a little bit. So whether you want to have Curtis Samuel kind of be that guy, possibly, but at the same time, I'm afraid if you bring in Curtis Samuel, you got too many cooks in the kitchen because then you have to literally devise game plans that are going to rally behind Curtis Samuel because you're not going to have him out there as a wide receiver per se because you already got DJ Chark. You already got Laviska Shenault. You might still have Keelan Cole, and I'm not sure where Curtis Samuel fits in that category. I would much rather have a guy like Chris Godwin, Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, where he's guaranteed getting at least 80% of those reps every single game.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how many gadget guys do you need is, I think, a good question. Like, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday from, like, can you draft that in Kadarius Toney as well? Like, does he become a guy that can do multiple things for you? I know everybody's got a little bit different, the height, the weight, the speed, all that stuff. But, I agree with what you're saying. Like, even people like the Toney idea, and I've seen some people mock Toney to Jacksonville. But I kind of feel with what Laviska Shenault brings you and certain kind of how many guys do you need to do different things? Even like the Kadarius Toney talk kind of feels that way too. I think if you're bringing somebody in, you want a bona fide number one guy or a 1A, 1B with DJ Chark.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. I don't know if I feel good about like Colin Johnson being a complimentary guy. Maybe they keep Keelan Cole as a complimentary guy. Maybe they do. And Shenault's your gadget guy. DJ Chark's your Pro Bowl guy. He's got to become a go-to. He's got to take a step. Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to add somebody, it's Robinson, it's Godwin, it's Galladay, or it's somebody in the draft that I think is going to be a number one. And I don't feel that way about Samuel. I don't feel that way even about Marvin Jones as we go back to that conversation. I don't feel that way about Kadarius Toney, quite frankly. So if I'm coveting that spot, I want somebody bona fide go-to that helps matchups on the offensive side, that opens more things up for guys like Laviska Shenault.
Yeah, without a doubt. Listen, if you're Shad Khan by everybody. Listen, Brent, I'm going to be honest with you. I love to talk receivers with you right now, but the show has taken a drastic turn. Okay?
It has.
And it has taken an aggressive, drastic turn. Somebody has entered my mentions, a friend of yours, let's just say, and I'm going to tell you right now, either you deal with it or I'll deal with it, but you don't want me to deal with it, okay? Because I will put the whole show in jeopardy just to prove a point. Now, what am I referring to? Well, I log on Twitter, and keep in mind, I don't always go on Twitter, but I just so happen when we're talking wide receivers, I look up some guys in the league, and I go on Twitter here, and this guy by the name of Matt Santini?
That is
Santini.
Mayor Matt to you.
Not in his Twitter profile. It's not. It's Matt Santini. And I quote, a true please. So, I mean, first of all.
Pleasure, yes.
Well, he said please. So.
That's okay. I mistype this all the time. I can't hold that against
Hey, you know what? Go ahead and defend the guy a little more, but that's fine.
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to defend him. It's good home cooking around here in Cartersville.
All right. But,
I'm an honorary member of this town.
Well, and you know what? And let's go ahead and set the scene real quick for those that didn't listen yesterday. So Brent interviewed the mayor of Cartersville, and he happened to say that in terms of people buying Trevor Lawrence jerseys, there's going to be a lot of Aqua jerseys being brought. Now, the problem with that comment is that, well, Jacksonville features the teal jersey, and Miami has the Aqua jersey. So you
honest mistake by the mayor from an out-of-towner, from a guy in Atlanta Falcon area.
So you disrespected the city. And when you disrespect the city, you disrespect the show. You disrespect the show, no matter what Brent Martineau says, because obviously he's been bought, okay, and that's fine. I hope you enjoy your free sandwiches of wherever you ate them and you're talking to waitresses. I hope you enjoy all that, man. But some people
bring waitresses into this.
Well, you said yesterday the waitress had a comment about
Oh, yeah,
Trevor
she did,
Lawrence.
actually. Yeah, okay.
So what are you talking
reference.
about?
You were listening.
And by the way, she's just bitter because obviously she got left for maybe a cheerleader. She was dating a football player, and that football player went on to date a cheerleader, and she's bitter about it because school got out and she's working at a diner instead of cheerleading. So, sorry. Anyways, Brent, so you enjoy your free Sammys over there, and I'm going to keep it real, man. So, the mayor comes at me today. He says, a true please, chatting with Brent Martineau, AS Jax. Comments by A-Train92, that's me, at 240 has me fuming. Okay. All over that color. Tough words from down there in your comfy studio. It's pretty comfortable. Come up to Cartersville and say that to my face. #laters. Now, I said laters as a way of mocking Brent, let's just say. Laters is not in my vocabulary.
You said it.
I said it in a way to mock Brent Martineau. So now apparently the mayor of Cartersville's got a problem with me. Okay,
I love it.
And when I say the mayor, he's also, I mean, he's everything. He's the train conductor. He's got his own radio show there. He's like the band leader.
He's the voice of Cartersville football.
He's the voice of Cartersville football. I think
he runs a theater.
He runs a theater. Does he have a restaurant?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't have a restaurant? Well, yet. No. We'll see. I'm sure that's in the works as well. But apparently this guy's got a problem with me, Brent.
Yeah, well, you called him out. I mean, you called him out. You did. I mean, the guy made an honest mistake on a color.
No.
I mean, he just made a mistake.
See, and I can't stress this enough, Brent. Everybody in this city holds you to such a high standard. Like when the New York media was calling everybody out, who was the first one on the front lines, man, trying to pop back? Brent Martineau.
That's right.
Okay?
Bring it on.
And I sat next to you in this quote-unquote comfy studio, as the mayor wants to call it. I sat next to you, and I had a tear in my eye because my dude, Brent Martineau, is going to bat for this city. He's going to bat for the team. Now, fast forward a month later, and you're in Cartersville, Georgia, and I haven't heard you one time say that my comments about that mayor were justified or they were right. You're taking the mayor's side, man. So you might as well just stay your butt in Cartersville as far as I'm concerned, and you might as well set up shop in that rain because they can't even take care of you. They can't even give you an awning. You're getting poured on right now. Have fun in Cartersville, man. I'll be keeping it real here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I've got to listen. This really goes back to, at the end of the day, the mayor taking probably umbrage with your other shot at the mayor of Jacksonville, and the Tim McGraw stuff. I mean, they all stick together. This comes full circle at the end of the day.
Well, hey, listen. I mean,
Meanwhile, listen, I've got a political career ahead of me potentially.
Yeah. Well,
because apparently you can do radio and be a mayor in some places.
Hey, all I'm going
to say. I've got that in front of me.
Listen, and what's this, Mayor Santini again? By the way, dude, I mean, are you the mayor or are we in The Sopranos? Nevertheless, with that being said, listen, I'm petty, sir. Okay? I'm petty, and I will spite people till the cows come home. And if I have to actually become mayor of Jacksonville just to prove a point, and if I have to be the new like programming coordinator here for the Ape station, the Top 40 station, just to put you out of business, sir, I will definitely do that. And I will call up Crayola right now, and I will get Aqua banned. I'll bring up something from the history. I don't know where I'm going to go with it, but I'll make sure that you never say the word Aqua again. Like, I am that powerful, and most importantly, I am that motivated.
We got to fix this. We got to get the mayor on again or something because, listen, we want a cordial, nice relationship with the sister city of Cartersville, Georgia. I mean, this is Trevor Lawrence's hometown. We need to have good relationships.
No,
man. I'm the peacemaker here. The mayor's a good man. He was kind enough to join us. He pointed us in the direction. He hooked us up with the Cartersville head coach. Hooked us up with the previous coach, Joey King.
Yeah.
Hooked us up with a lot of things on our little jaunt up here to Cartersville, Georgia. Got nothing but nice things to say about the mayor. Mayor Santini, by the way, we'll keep that Italian heritage just fine. Got a little of that in my blood, so no problem there.
Listen, man. I hope you're proud of yourself is all I'm going to say, Brent, because you've been brought, and I can't wait till you come back to the studios. I'm going to wear Skechers till the day I die. I guarantee, Coos, when Brent comes back, whenever that's going to be 2-3 weeks, this guy's on a road trip excursion, Gardner Minshew style, but whenever he comes back, if he's rocking Louis Vuitton loafers, there's going to be hell to pay. Mark my words. Because I guarantee Mayor Santini's got to Brent Martineau. I guarantee you right now Brent Martineau's pockets are a little deeper, and I'm not going to stand for it in the city, and I'm not going to stand for it on the show.
We appreciate your listening, Mayor Santini. We also appreciate your hospitality here in Cartersville, Georgia, and everybody else's hospitality. We'll have the mayor on again, I think, sometime to smooth this over.
Oh, yeah? He's going to have open arms this time, too? Because guess what? You better close those arms, man. I ain't hugging you, all right? I'm going to come to that city and do so many donuts in my Cadillac, you're not going to know what's happening.
You know, like they do donuts in Cartersville, Georgia already.
I mean, it's more of a disrespectful thing to the streets, Brent. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's what you do in small towns that you don't like. You do donuts in them.
We got to fix this. We've got some fixing to do. Here with we've got a reparation of a relationship here between you and the mayor.
Man. You know what, man? We're all good, Brent. I don't need any kind of fixing. I don't need to salvage a relationship that was never there in the first place, all right? I don't get into politics too much. But you can tell him, hey, good luck with all your endeavors because you got like 10 of them. Good luck to that dude.
Got a lot going on.
I'm going to stay in my lane. You stay in your lane. And if you want to dive back in my mentions again, man, I can make things very, very public and uncomfortable, let's just say.
Hey, what?
And by the way, and I'm not threatening a government official. That's not where I was going with it. Coos gave me that look like you better say something. So now I'm going to say something. That wasn't a threat, sir. I respect what you do in that city. Brent's got nothing but nice things to say about it. The people are there, and that's a reflection of you. But, you know, it's just business.
Yeah, so much for I don't care what I say on this. I don't care what happens.
Coos, we good?
That was a quick backtrack.
Yeah, I think we're good.
We're good now?
Yeah, we're
okay.
good. No dump button
Coos is telling me to see you.
Hey, before we get out of here, real quick, I teased this. I want to say you brought this topic up. Are there any fluky teams in the NFL like the Jags of 17, kind of like, contenders for a minute? Anybody this year that jumps out, or do we have a lot of good teams going forward? Keep in mind, the NFL model is you're going to be half the team's going to be out of the playoffs next year,
Yeah, nobody at the top kind of sticks out to me a little bit. Like the Dolphins at 10-6 was a little surprising.
There you go. That's a good one.
You got to ask yourselves, like, are you confident with Tua Tagovailoa going forward? Time will tell. Obviously the Washington football team, they won their division. Now, it wasn't a successful record, let's just say. I wonder if they take a step back as well with a new quarterback situation, possibly. So in terms of overachieving, I would probably give it to the Washington football team, and then obviously, who did I say? Yeah, the Dolphins. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think the Dolphins are a good call on that front. All right, regardless of what Austin says, big appreciation to the city of Cartersville and everybody we ran into on this trip. Also to the mayor, Matt Santini.
There it is.
Everybody at
Cha-ching.
Capri Diner.
Cha-ching.
Scott's Barbecue as
Free
well.
food
Right
for
across
Brent.
the street.
All
Didn't even get any. I'm going to have to try it. The head coach here at Cartersville High School, Connor Foster, as well. We really stole his day today, so we appreciate him helping us out along the way. So many good people here. Austin will have to come up the next time and meet you all. No doubt about it.
All that free food, I'm sure it was good, Brett, but next time make sure they bring an awning to the table as well, and then I'll be there.
I think it's the first time this ever happened, but our show gets cut short today because we're going to hand off to Florida State basketball. Florida State in Miami. Tip-off at 6. Pregame show starts right here on ESPN 690 at 5:30. So we've got some FSU hoops on the way. For Coos and Stewart behind the scenes, Austin Lane, I'm Brent Martineau from Cartersville, Georgia. Our road trip continues tomorrow. Next stop tonight. You'll see me on TV on CBS 47 and Fox 30 from guess where? Rocky Top. Yeah, that's Tennessee. We'll be there in a few hours. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll be back at it tomorrow afternoon from a different spot. Find out. 3 o'clock on Thursday. Have a good night, everybody.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Rain ends and then skies will clear and it'll turn cold.